My fiance refuses to invite his sister-in-law to our wedding because she has feelings for him.
What? The drama.
My fiance, Will, has a younger brother, Charlie, 34 male, and he's married to Evie, 33 female. Evie is a beautiful woman, both inside and out. She is one of the nicest people I've ever met and is an amazing and supportive friend. Perhaps the best friend I've ever had. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, Will, Charlie, and Evie went to school together. Charlie and Evie have been together for 20 years. They married pretty much straight out of high school. Wow. During their time at school, Will and Evie went on one date before she started dating Charlie. Will had been hounding her for a date, and she eventually said yes to try and make Charlie jealous. Ooh. Uh-oh. As she liked him, but didn't think he felt the same way. Yes, completely aware this is ridiculous, but Evie was 13 at the time. Evie told me about this date pretty early on. She had wanted me to know in case I thought she had feelings for Will. She made it very clear that she's never had romantic feelings for Will and that she used him for that one date to make Charlie jealous. I do not know that Will had feelings for Evie, and from what he said, that he's stopped having them since we've been together. Will and I are currently in the process of planning our wedding for the next summer. We've been putting together a list of who we want to ask to be a part of the wedding party and who we want to invite to the wedding. I want to have Evie as one of my bridesmaids because I know she'll be supportive and reliable. Will frowned and told me that he wasn't planning on Evie being a part of the wedding. I asked if he had a falling out with Charlie and wasn't inviting him either, as they're a package deal as a married couple. Plus, there's no way one would attend without the other. He replied that, he hadn't fallen out with his brother, but he couldn't see himself getting married with Evie there, as according to him, she still had feelings for him and he wouldn't want to ruin her day.
What?
I know for a fact that she doesn't. I asked him if she had confessed feelings or something. He said no, but it's the way she is with him. He gave examples like how she's always around our house. Evie and I run together 3 times a week, and as I live closer to her work, she comes to ours to change instead of going home. How she'll make his favorite dessert when we celebrate Christmas at theirs. His birthday is Christmas Eve. How she does little thoughtful things like dropping off baked goods for us, or how she takes an interest in things he's interested in. The 3 of them support the same football team. To me, none of this is Evie showing she has romantic feelings for him. She's just being a good friend. I told him this, but he is insistent on not inviting Evie to the wedding. I know that if Evie isn't invited, Charlie won't attend, and it will snowball further as the family are really close, but it will look like I'm the one causing this.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, probably.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like your husband's into Evie. I feel like he has residual crush on her because they went out that one time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why.
Yeah, it's like the kind of thing where it's like, I don't know, I feel like that's happened to me sometimes where I'm like, oh my gosh, I bet that person likes me. And then it seems like they don't. And I'm like, shoot, maybe did I like them? Is that why I got those feelings?
Yeah.
No, I didn't think so. That's probably what's happening.
I reached out to Evie after the conversation with Will, and I asked her to be honest with me if she had any sort of romantic feelings for Will. At first, Evie laughed at the idea of her having any sort of feelings for Will. She then admitted that until I met Will, he had made her uncomfortable, but it has lessened since we got together 2 years ago. She explained that Will would make comments about how they were more suited than her and Charlie. He used to send her wasted messages about how they belonged together. She told me that Charlie knew about the messages and they had pulled themselves away from Will during that period, but only allowed him back in when I started dating him. I asked her if he had sent her anything like that since we'd been together. Evie went quiet on the phone before saying that he had sent her a message at the weekend when Will, Charlie, and some of their friends had gone out drinking. She had canceled on running this weekend, but hasn't given me a reason. And it turns out that she's avoiding Will.
Wow.
Charlie also hasn't been talking to his brother since the night out because of the message. Yikes. Yikes. She sent me the message and it was very explicit. He told her that he wished he was the father of her child. Evie's pregnant with her 4th child.
Oh my
and not Charlie.
gosh.
And how he'd be a better dad than Charlie could ever be. I'm not sure what to do. Leave. I love Will and he's convinced that Evie has feelings for him when she's made it clear that she does not. He has feelings for her. That's so obvious.
Yeah.
I thought Will had moved on, but he's now sending Evie messages. Is there anything I can do, or is the relationship doomed? It's doomed. He's literally trying to cheat on you with Evie.
Yeah.
And the only reason that hasn't happened is because Evie said no.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Edit, not that it makes anything better. Will was 15 when they had the date. Evie is 6 months younger than her husband. She's 34 next month. I've told Will that we need to talk when he comes back from taking his mom to an appointment this morning. It's nothing serious, just taking her to get new glasses. But she needs the help as she got mobility issues. I think he knows I want to talk about Evie and has asked if it was about Evie and the wedding. I said yes, and he sighed before telling me we would discuss it when he comes back. I'm going to put together a weekend bag so I can leave quickly if needed. I've texted Evie and Charlie to tell them I'm going to talk to Will about his behavior because it needs to change and he needs to realize that nothing will ever happen with Evie. OP is way too calm.
Oh my gosh.
OP's like, oh, Will.
Oh, Will Turner.
Will, you can't be with Evie. She doesn't want you. He doesn't want you, girl. Charlie responded, wishing me luck, and has said their house is open to me if I need it. He also apologized for me having to go through this, as they shouldn't have stuck their heads in the sand about this, hoping it would go away. I know I should have brought this up after she told me, but I'm very non-confrontational and will try and avoid an argument if I can. You cannot. There is an update, but OP, you cannot. What about this situation makes you think that you can avoid this argument? In what way can you avoid the fact that your fiance is in love with another woman and not with you?
Probably denial.
Yes.
Straight up.
Strong denial.
This is the moment that we need to confront. If you ever to practice confronting people, is this.
Yes, when your partner's trying to cheat on you.
Yeah, exactly.
With your best friend.
Exactly.
Leave him. There's no fixing this.
Yeah.
He doesn't love you. He loves another woman.
Sorry.
Update. Will and I had a talk when he came back. I told him that I knew about the text he had sent Evie at the weekend. He denied it straight away, telling me she was a fantasist, but quickly changed his tune once I started reading him the text. He then started to apologize and claimed it was just a moment of weekend after Charlie had been showing the group pictures from their family holiday last month. One of them had made a comment about Evie being out of Charlie's league, which reminded Will that he had lost his chance with Evie all those years ago. He then sent her the text. How do you even get out of this? How do you get out of sending your brother's wife an explicit I don't understand OP. OP is weird to me. Get out of there.
Yeah. Oh, this poor girl. I wonder if this has happened before. I wonder if he's cheated before.
Oh, I thought you just meant like in other relationships.
Well, sure. That could
like,
be it too.
Oh, that'd be so sad.
And then here we are again. Repeating the same pattern.
I asked him how he would feel if it had been Charlie pestering his partner, and he just lowered his head and said he would be upset, but that Charlie didn't deserve Evie.
Dude, this is a rom-com.
Really funny.
This is a rom-com, and you're in the middle of it.
You're
the bad guy.
This is the rom-com. He's just not that into you, OP. When a man says that he's in love with your best friend / his brother's wife, he's just not that into you.
That how he said that of just like, oh man, yeah, that would really hurt if Charlie was like bothering you, but they're not right for each other though.
But they're just not right for each other. We should swap.
Exactly.
I told him that Evie wasn't an object to be given to whoever is deemed worthy of her, and that she chose Charlie, and that should have been enough for him. The fact there is someone out there who loves Charlie for who he is and makes his brother happy should be enough. Will told me that he was jealous of Charlie, as he has everything he wanted. OP, leave.
Dang.
And it wasn't fair because he's the eldest. Charlie did better than Will in school. He was better at sports. Charlie's more successful as he was able to do what he wanted. Will feels he had to do what his parents expected. That's your dream, Dad, not mine. While Charlie could go to uni for whatever he wanted. Seeing Evie with Charlie is a reminder that Charlie has everything he wants. I asked Will if Evie was single and interested in him, would he leave me? We know the answer.
This is so funny to me.
Will refused to answer the question, but it was all I needed to hear. Is it? Is it all you needed to hear? It feels like you needed to hear a lot.
Oh,
it feels like you needed to hear a dissertation.
Yeah, we needed to hear so much less, OP.
Nah,
sorry,
I was gone like really, really quick, girl.
Yeah.
Dude, we were listening to another story like this where I guess the guy like rambling on about she's toxic, but I can't leave her. She's toxic, but I can't leave her.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
You can do it.
I release you.
Can she do
In
it?
the name of the Lord, I release you.
She can.
Yeah.
you've got the Worm Queen's approval. So you go.
Will refused to answer the question, but it was all I needed to hear. I told Will that I was going to stay elsewhere for a couple days while I figure out where I will go because we're over. I don't want to stay living with someone who doesn't care about me. When I went to go and get the bag I packed, Will asked me if he could have the ring back as it's a family heirloom.
What?
Man didn't even try.
You want the gold medallion? That's sacred.
No, but I just want to like enact what I think this scene looks like.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so you're OP.
Yeah.
Say like, we're done. It's over.
We're done, Will Turner. I'm leaving you.
And then turn to walk away. Wait! Can I have that ring back? That's what happened. She was like, oh my God, is he going to try and convince me to stay?
Yeah.
Can I actually have that ring back? It's my grandma's.
It's like the music, the rain is pouring, the music is swelling, and then it just all comes to a halt.
And then she's like, fine, if it's so important to you.
She throws it at him.
Take it. And then it falls into a gutter. And he's like, no. And he dives after the ring while she walks away. And then it pulls him into the gutter.
Pennywise is there.
Yeah, Pennywise.
Dude.
The clown is there.
Someone please write this fan fiction. I'm so invested right now.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Pennywise is also in it. It belonged to his gran and was intended for whoever got married first. But when Charlie asked for it, Will apparently threw a massive tantrum over it, saying that it should be his as the eldest. So their mom said Charlie couldn't have it. I told him no, it was going to go to the person who it was meant to go to, Evie. I'm now at Charlie and Evie's for a couple days while I figure out getting a new place to stay or if I will move closer to my family. I work for myself, so that makes things easier. Charlie and Evie have decided they will go low contact with Will. They should have from the start. Oh, they'd go no contact, but it will cause drama with the family and neither want that, especially Evie. By the way, you can listen to all sorts of drama if you go to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. Folks, there's a little bit left to this update, but or to the story. Do you have any final thoughts? What should OP do?
Well, she's leaving, correct?
She's leaving.
She's
on her way.
There. I think she should keep the well, yeah, no, she gave it to Evie, right?
Yeah, I think that was because a lot of people in the chat were saying like, "Oh, OP, keep it."
Like,
I think a better way to go about it is to give it to Evie, which still fulfills like the grandma's wishes and stuff, but also honors her best friend.
Yeah.
Who's in a healthy relationship.
And then it'll probably just make Will Turner even more mad, being like, it should have been me that gave it to her.
He's gonna be so mad.
He's gonna be like, and she's wearing my wife's wedding ring.
Oh, yeah. He's gonna be like, I love her, Evie so much. That should have been me giving that ring to her.
Yeah.
Should have been me.
Or he'll be like, we're basically married since you have my wedding ring. That was for my wife and you're the one wearing it. It's like it turns into the corpse bride kind of situation.
Yeah. But there's a little bit left of the story. Will called Charlie asking if I was with them, but Charlie told Will that he had no idea where I am. Charlie then proceeded to tell Will that they're going low contact with him because of the way Will has been towards Evie and that he is now doing what he should have done years ago and protected Evie. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Because Evie's not going to do it. Evie has apologized several times and she feels she's the reason my relationship has ended. No, you're the reason that it went on too long. But I have reassured her that the only person at fault here is Will, and I do not blame her for anything. If anything, she is a victim in all of this too. I've given her the ring, but she has said that I should give it back to mother-in-law as she doesn't want it. I wish I had seen Will's behavior before it got this far, but I was blinded by love. Looking back, I can see there were red flags that I just decided to ignore. My fiance forced me into her new hobby. I'm not happy about it.
Gross.
So my fiance has taken up cooking during quarantine. Previously, we did not cook much and instead ate out a lot. That's expensive. We could afford it and are generally healthy eaters. Of course, we both can cook, but given how busy we are, it was easier to eat out. Anyone can cook. I'm going to keep going.
Anyone can cook.
Yeah,
but it just depends on how good the cooking is, right?
Also, to be honest, I don't really enjoy cooking and see it as a chore to be avoided. I love food, but there are other things I'd rather do with my time. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Cooking, I don't know. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So.
Yes.
Due to quarantine, my fiance has decided to actually cook more, and she has found she really enjoys it. This is great. I'm happy for her that she's discovered a new thing that brings her joy. Turns out she's also quite good at it and cares about learning new skills, etc. So I've been benefiting as well. I still don't really care to cook myself, like I said. So in return for her putting all this effort into cooking, I've been helping out by paying for takeout on nights she doesn't want to cook, as well as doing all the dishes and cleaning the counters, etc. for the days when she does cook. As far as I was aware, she agreed that this was a suitable compromise. And of course, if she felt it was unfair, I would have been happy to pick up the slack in other ways. But she seemed happy with this. As her cooking experiments expanded to baking and generally became more elaborate, she started to rope me into cooking. I'd head to the kitchen to get a drink and check on her, and she'd be like, "Oh, can you help me chop this while I saute this?" or something. I would chop her carrots for her or whatever and chat with her about the meal and then head back to whatever I was doing. I didn't mind this at all. But it's slowly grown into me becoming her sous chef, especially when she wants to make meals that are really easier with two people.
I mean, if you're benefiting from the cooking, the least you could do is help.
I don't know. I don't feel bad for this guy.
He's like, yeah, my partner's like picking up cooking. She's actually pretty good at it, but like sometimes she wants me to chop
help?
vegetables.
This is what I do with Sam, and I'll be like, "Hey Sam, like let's cook dinner," and then I'll be like, "Hey, can you help me?" And he's like, "I have to help you." I'm like, "You're eating it." He's like, "What? You tricked me."
Can't I just help you by eating it?
I'm like, "Sam, you have to help." Keep in mind, her cooking experiments are elaborate and sometimes take 2 or more hours. So my entire evening is gone to these cooking endeavors, and this happens multiple times a week. On top of that, she tends to order me around in the kitchen. I could be a little rude. As you can probably predict, we had a fight about it. I told her that I dislike her attitude in the kitchen when I help, and I don't like cooking to begin with. I would feel better about helping her if she wasn't so rude to me. But quite frankly, I don't want to spend 8+ hours every week cooking. It's not my hobby. It's hers.
I don't even eat.
The thing is, if you benefit from the hobby,
and you can't even really call it, it's like a skill.
It's
There's
not
a difference between a hobby and
That's
a
a
life
thing.
skill. This is a skill.
it's a skill.
A hobby
that some
is
people
like
get better at. Like
Ultimate frisbee is a hobby.
Yeah, I think when the hobby helps you live,
Yeah.
it's not exactly a hobby.
It's like my hobby is like getting a good night's sleep
I
and
think
drinking enough water.
I don't know. I think baking is more of a hobby.
Oh, don't let the bakers hear you say that.
Well, but I mean, I'm a baker. I think that is more of a
Clearly
hobby.
not, because that's a lifestyle.
That's not a hobby.
That's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle.
If she wanted me to pitch in by providing meals, I would buy them or make something simple. Sometimes people want like a home cooked meal, you know? Sometimes they don't want you to eat out every day. She was very upset. She said that it wasn't fair that I was enjoying the fruits of her labor but not contributing, and that cooking took 2 hours, but doing the dishes and cleaning only took half an hour. I told her that it was her decision to make very elaborate meals and that I would be happy if she put together a simple pizza or stir fry. I'm sorry. Sounds a little ungrateful. She's asking for a little help. She wants to hang out with you while you cook together. I think the rudeness, if she's actually being rude to you, that is maybe a problem that could be addressed. But she's cooking for you, man. After a certain point, the elaborateness of her meals crosses into hobby territory. And I resent being made to feel like I'm a bad partner because I don't want to give up multiple evenings to her hobby. Dude, you're not giving it. She's making food for you. It's not like you're not giving up. I don't know. You're just hanging out with her and cooking. We did not really resolve this. I actually bought and made some of my own meals on a few nights, so I wasn't enjoying the fruits of her labor, but this seemed to make her more upset, and our fridge started to fill with more leftovers than she could eat herself. Another time, I ended up helping her, but told her I needed to go to a video chat at 8 p.m., and she got upset when I actually stopped helping to leave, even though I told her beforehand. I told her a little snappishly, I'm afraid, that I wasn't her sous chef to boss around in the kitchen.
Yeah, but you are though, right? Kinda, theoretically, maybe a little bit. Shouldn't you? I mean, do you want to start paying?
The thing is, like, I'm also imagining that she's not really giving him really hard jobs, you know? Like, he's got to chop vegetables and stir stuff.
Yeah, what a hard knock life.
I tried to discuss this with her again when we were feeling calmer. I told her that I loved that she found a new hobby, but it is her hobby, and I can't help with it and don't want to feel obligated to do it. She retorted that it wasn't feminist of me to relegate the cooking to her and benefit from it without helping. The feminism connection makes little sense to me because previously, neither of us cooked much, and she chose to take up cooking herself. But of course, I didn't tell her that. I don't know if I like this guy.
Why are you acting like she invented eating?
Yeah, she's like, oh, she's really into her little hobby. Like, okay, sometimes people, you start out, you don't really know how to cook. And so you start out, you're buying a bunch of food out, and then you're like, wow, this is kind of expensive. I kind of want to, learn how to cook on my own. And then you start cooking, and then you're like, I'm doing a lot of work solo now for 2 people. Maybe
but you know what? It is true.
There,
he's like, why don't you just do it for the love of the game? Why do I have to do that? Why don't you just do it because you're like in love with the process?
He's like, you're literally in love with it. You're obsessed with it. I shouldn't have to help at all, even though I'm eating it. I told her that if she wants to discuss the distribution of labor in our house, we can do so and come up with something new that reflects that she's cooking more now. We tried to do this, but she wanted to count all the time she spends cooking as chore time. Well, I mean, if you're eating it.
Nah.
It depends on what she's making.
It's different now.
What?
If you enjoy cooking, if it's a hobby that you like, I don't think it's fair to call that a chore.
I disagree. I love cooking, but sometimes cooking is a chore. Especially when you're very tired.
Well, I guess it's more of just like the emotional flavoring of
I don't know. I think you can enjoy
cooking.
Like, I think you can enjoy something that is also sometimes a chore.
Yeah, I guess like I enjoy vacuuming.
Okay.
I do. I enjoy that.
I do, and I'm not ashamed of it.
And that's a chore.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Or like gardening.
You can't eat a vacuum.
That's true.
But I think we're on to something here.
if you were like, I enjoy vacuuming, and then I was like, perfect, you vacuum all the time, and I'm never going to help you vacuum.
I'd be like, yes.
But like, I don't do any more chores, even like to reflect that you're doing more vacuuming. You'd be like, well, I enjoy it, but I'm still doing stuff to help around the house, and you're not doing anything more.
Yeah, but I think that would be a separate issue outside of the vacuum because I love the game.
Okay, Dakota really loves vacuuming, everyone.
I'm a player of the game.
So according to her ideal chore distribution, she spends 10 plus hours cooking dinner only every week, which somehow leaves me with pretty much all the rest of the chores. So wait, hold on. So what you're saying is is she cooking on the week every day of the week? We have 7 days of the week.
Right, and she does
10
her favorite
plus
thing.
hours. That means she's doing maybe an hour and a half of cooking every night.
Which probably feels like 10 minutes to her because she loves it so much.
She loves it so much. I don't know why he's complaining. He's saying 10 plus hours like it's this huge number, but that's realistically like an hour and a half every night.
Right.
Maybe 2, which is like pretty normal for cooking. I don't know what his...
Buddy doesn't know what cooking is.
I told her I wasn't happy with this because making elaborate meals is a hobby. It isn't fair that, say, 6 out of 10 hours of her chores is actually her hobby. And I have to do an equivalent amount of actual chores, if that makes sense. So we're at a bit of an impasse. Am I actually being a bad feminist? I don't think I am wrong. I'm quite familiar with emotional labor, mental load, all that. But maybe I am. I love this woman and obviously want to marry her, but we're usually good at making decisions logically, and this is the first time we've had such a disagreement. I don't know how to get her to understand the boundary between cooking as a necessary activity and cooking as a hobby. I would appreciate your advice, and there are some comments. But
so yeah,
I have to remember any of the thoughts that I had before this happened.
I remember mine, so I'll start because it feels like where we're at in the story is less about what's like who needs to change, and it's really more like a what is a chore,
yeah,
what classifies something as work,
question.
And it's like it sounds like from the end of that OP's just like, well, if she was making gruel and slop,
yeah,
then it would be different.
Well, that's kind of he's like, if I made easy meals, he's like, if I made pasta with butter every night, it'd be fine. And
right.
It's like, well, she wants something a little more sophisticated.
But, if you're like, well, it took me 8 hours to make a dozen French macaroons, so I did 8 hours worth of chores. It's like, no, you didn't. Nuh-uh.
Like exact. I agree. But I could actually use my mom as a great example. She is an excellent cook, cooks very healthy, great meals. They probably take her, depending on the meal, but like roughly an hour to do. And she likes cooking and she's very good at it, and she's making, maybe more elaborate meals than the average household, but that's still a chore. She's still making food for multiple people. That's, she's doing something that is not inherently a selfish hobby. She's doing something for the betterment of herself, but also mostly the people that she's cooking for.
Right. Like if I was like playing like a video game and I was like grinding, like doing some repetitive thing for experience points.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, babe, I've actually been doing basically chores for 5 hours.
Yeah, that's totally
That's
different.
not really a chore.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing something that I am choosing to actively do, but it provides nothing.
Yeah. Red Bull Rana says, and then he said he would pick up some more slack, but now she says it means all the other chores, which is where I think she's in the wrong. I think they need to meet in the middle, and he's on the one end going, well, that's not a chore at all, so I shouldn't have to do any more chores.
Right.
Or like, he's like saying that it's not indicative of her doing any extra work, which
Yeah.
is not true. Whereas
Yeah.
she's saying, well, I'm doing all of this extra work, so I shouldn't have to do anything else. And it's like, well, no, you still have to help out with other stuff.
If these really were a couple of logical individuals,
Yeah,
you'd
which
think
they
they'd have some
claim
kind
to
of
be.
logical chart or some kind
You would
of
think.
schedule for,
Yeah.
or just drawing straws. Draw chores out of a hat for the week.
Truly.
Like literally randomize it, so that's fair.
But we've got some comments, so let's see what Reddit thinks of this guy. Comment 1: the best way I've ever heard this type of resentment described was by David Schnarch. Schnarch. In Passionate Marriage.
Dude's name is Schnarch.
Schnarch. Essentially, he says that when one partner forces the other to do things they enjoy, it feels like togetherness to them. Yeah, I mean, that's probably part of why she wants it, because she wants to hang out with him.
Dude, I gotta lock back in. I'm still hooked on Schnarch, dude.
But when they are the one being forced to participate, it feels like being controlled. Comment 2 says, honestly, if he is using a million pots and pans, then he's doing it wrong. You don't need a new container for every ingredient. You just have to organize yourself in a way that will add ingredients as you go. I'm also really quick, circling back. He said that it took him 30 minutes to do the dishes. I don't think it takes that long. Unless she's using like 20 different dishes for these meals.
Maybe they're all cast iron.
Or maybe they don't have a dishwasher. That is a possibility. But they said they have a fair bit of money because they have takeout money. So I feel like they probably have a dishwasher. In which case I'm circling back again, and I think that you're taking too long to do the dishes.
I think just hiring someone else to do all of the chores at this point.
Yeah, if you have the money for
just do that.
takeout, if you have takeout money, I don't know. Yeah, you use the money that you're saving on cooking.
Yeah, if you're just like, me and my wife, we just can't get over this. And it's like, we'll pay someone else to do it then.
Wasn't this also during the vid?
COVID, you're right.
Oh, so
That's guys. That's why they're stuck together for like every day for hours. That's why all these problems are happening.
She keeps cooking, and I just want
Yeah.
microwave
There
corn
we have
dogs.
I personally blame those cooking videos where every ingredient is laid out in a different bowl. That's obviously just for show. You can reuse things like weighting scales without washing as long as you put the dry stuff in first. You can reuse a bowl that had tomatoes in for the onions. You can reuse the same knife. What is this commenter talking about?
I don't know. Like
That
I'm not a
commenter was
cook-
stupid.
I'm not cooking.
The commenter was like, "Are you using different bowls for everything?" How was that
Just put
relevant?
everything in one bowl. It's the everything bowl.
Comment 3. I've spent a long time in food service and I'm good friends with chefs. This has taught me that one of the biggest components of getting food made quickly is prep, something that is literally a full-time job. If this is really her passion project, she should do more prep. That means having things chopped, marinated, and sauces and such prepared as much ahead of time as you can. Cooking is an ordeal when you don't prep properly and are doing everything on the fly. 1 or 2 days a week devoted to prep would make your lives a lot easier. Opie says this would make a lot of sense if she wasn't whimsically picking things to make every couple of days. Like she'll be browsing recipes online, then decide to make butternut squash lasagna or something that very day. Sounds like you're living the life, man.
Yeah, this guy's really just like, yeah, my wife keeps finding new things to cook. And she's kind of good at it. What do I do?
I don't know.
I have to do laundry and clean the house.
The thing is, I like cooking, so this isn't a great example, but I think if I had someone who was like a full-time cook for me, I'd be okay doing every other chore.
I mean,
not that it is a fair distribution. I'm just saying on me personally. If someone was feeding me like great meals, I'd be like, this is my living chef.
I think
But I understand what he's coming from in terms of distribution.
And he hates doing it, right? He does not enjoy doing the cooking.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I think you should just work out a system where it's like, look, you just keep cooking a delicious, amazing stuff.
Maybe she has to cook lunch
And
and
I'll handle
breakfast
it.
now too. You know, maybe that's the trade-off.
Just have her cook everything, and then you clean everything, and then you get fed, and she has
Yeah.
clean house, and then it's over, and everything's fine.
And go to the store and buy the necessary ingredients. We are fairly well stocked, but there'll always be something or other unique to the recipe she selected that she has to run out and get. I suppose I could suggest meal planning to her, but part of the fun seems to be spinning the recipe wheel that day to see what we get. Reply says, how about a weekly meal? Maybe you can even make her a fancy menu page to update every week. She can pick her recipes and add them to the menu and list out the ingredients she needs. And there is an update. SCZ says, good for wifey. She found something to keep her mind busy during quarantine. Again, this is pretty relevant information that this is during quarantine when a lot of people were exploring hobbies like cooking and you know, making bread. Like that was a pretty big thing.
Yeah, dude. Imagine if she just like picked up, you know, heavy metal drumming or something. I would be way more annoyed about that probably instead of being cooked for.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, dude. Any grown man complaining about doing chores, just weird. Weird to me.
But there is an update. So let's see what the update says. My original post blew up in a way I totally wasn't expecting. It seems a lot of people could personally relate to my post in some way, so I hope it's been helpful to others apart from myself. Thanks very much to everyone who commented. I wasn't able to reply to everyone, obviously, but I did read as much as I could. There are a few things I'd like to clear up since they kept coming up. She is not doing this because she wants to spend more time together. Previously, we would spend most of our evenings together watching shows or playing video games. Now that she's spending 8+ hours cooking by herself, I don't see her as much. And she is too tired from cooking sometimes to spend time with me. So that's something that's been bugging me about this that I haven't even realized. It is especially bothersome to me because I work 50+ hours a week and she still works full-time as well, though her schedule is much more flexible. So now I feel like my already meager free time and quality time with her is being cut into, which might be one of the most important aspects of this whole issue. Her motivation is not to save money or be more healthy. We live in a big city where we are able to order lots of homemade style ethnic food from mom and pop type places that isn't overly salted or oily to appeal to the masses. It's at least as healthy as the normal diet of a Mexican, Indian, Thai, Ethiopian, etc. person. Furthermore, we make a very comfortable income and don't want kids. So money is not an issue. So I sat her down and talked to her again because we're both in a good mood. But when I brought up the topic, she started to become annoyed simply because this is a point of contention and I guess she didn't want to talk about it. I told her that I'm invested in solving this problem and that if we're unable to do so, we can bring it up during couples counseling. We had already intended to go before the wedding purely for premarital counseling, but now I feel as if there is an actual problem we have to discuss during the session, and if we can get an appointment sooner rather than later, I would be open to doing so. This seemed to make it real for her. She seemed to be truly taken aback that I wanted to go to counseling over this. Well, not over this specifically, but that I wanted to involve a counselor at all in the cooking issue. She even became teary-eyed. I felt bad, so I asked her if there was anything else bothering her that was really at the root of this. And she said that she's overall felt pretty depressed by the pandemic and quarantine and everything, which is what I said. Yeah, she's trying to find a way to relieve all of the stress.
Yum.
And, just awfulness of being cooped up and probably, spending time with maybe she needs that alone time. That's not just working, something that she really enjoys. I told her I could relate and let her cry it out a bit. When she gotten past that, I didn't want the conversation to lose its steam. So I brought up the following things. I love that her new hobby is making her happy. And I appreciate that she's making lots of delicious food for us to enjoy. These are the problems I have identified, which I would like to find solutions for. 1, we used to spend a lot more time together. I would like to have more easy meals so we can go back to spending quality time together on TV, video games, etc. like we used to.
I would argue that neither of those activities well, maybe video games, but TV especially, not a really quality time spent with someone.
I just have the thing is it's hard for me to fully relate to this guy really quick because whenever I'm cooking and a friend is over, so much talking happening.
Right.
Even if they're not necessarily, a lot of times I'll be cooking and my friend will be sitting and just watching me cook.
That's quality time.
And we're talking. That, I consider that quality time.
It is. That is quality time.
Yeah. And so I'm confused why he's not just and he did bring up that she can be rude in the kitchen, so that's maybe a thing to address. But that can be in his, I mean, for me is quality time. So I'm wondering why it's not for him.
Well, yeah, I think this is less an issue of quality time and more like I want to do the things that I like doing or that we both liked doing.
Like,
But,
even if I
like-
was like, for example, like even if I'm like,
Because if it was an issue of quality
Yeah.
time, he would just be there,
would just
like
be there.
talking to
Exactly.
his partner while
like
she's
even like,
cooking.
let's say like I'm folding laundry. Someone's there talking to me. Quality time.
Quality time.
I'm going to get gas. Someone's in the car with me. Like one of my
Both
favorite
of your
things to do is
eyes-
doing errands.
Yeah, all eyes on the screen, watching a thing, and
That's
then
not
going,
quality
"Whoa!"
time.
It's not quality time. I mean, you're spending time together.
Yeah, like maybe
it's
you're
different.
cuddling or whatever, but I think that it's less active quality time.
Right.
I do not mind helping a little or hanging out while she's cooking, but the disrespect in the kitchen absolutely has to stop, which is I think that is a fair request. In future, I will be getting up and leaving if she's rude to me in the kitchen. The unfeminist comment was a low blow, and I would like an apology. Oh, he's like, I am a feminist. Don't you dare say otherwise. I love women.
Right.
I am a
I am a feminist. I am a feminist. And there are, look, really quickly, because I see some comments being like, TV is quality time. And it's like, like it's coming from a
I think
place
it is
of like,
a different type of quality time.
Exactly,
I think
yeah,
it is
it's like-
a inactive quality time. I think that like
Right.
being in the kitchen with someone, talking to them, that is active quality time.
right. It's a it's a
Also
passive
depends
activity.
on how you're
instead
watching
of
TV, because some people talk a lot during TV.
you know, yeah.
Passive is the word I was looking for. Thank you. She said she understood these things and apologized for the unfeminist. That is the funniest part of the story. I'm sorry, you're a feminist. Okay. I think that's so funny.
Yeah.
We worked out a meal schedule where I would be responsible for providing meals 2 times a week, and she would cook elaborate meals on weekends. I like that. One designated night would be for both of us to cook a simpler meal together as a couples activity. I asked her if there was anything about this she wanted to bring up about how I was behaving or how she feels, and she said no. That she really was just depressed by quarantine and had dived into her new hobby. Hopefully, if there is something else, she will bring it up later. That was a night where she was to cook a simpler meal for us, and as a show of good faith, I decided to help her out and see if she could be more chill and suggested we do all the prep first, as someone had suggested. It started off fine, but she started to become snappish as she juggled frying in 2 different pans and wanted me to keep her handing her prepped ingredients, so I went back to my room. By the way, you should come back to full episodes with us, which you can listen to on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. Just search up OK Storytime.
All you need to do, it's pretty simple.
Woo! But there is a little bit left to the story. Any final thoughts?
I mean, yeah, like
I kind of figured it out.
they did. I feel like, you know, most of this is probably just like being locked in the house.
I think it is being
type
locked
stuff.
in the house. I think it was really hard
Yeah.
for everyone to be locked in the house with the same people. I can tell you it was hard living with my parents, and you know, I got fed great meals. But it's hard. It's hard. I think you guys communicated well. I think she may be the type of person who wants people to help and also simultaneously gets stressed in the kitchen,
Yeah.
which is my mother. And you know, we love them. Cooks great meals.
Hard to cook with someone who gets angry in the kitchen.
It is. But there is a little bit left to this story. I felt very bad because I was leaving her in a bit of a tough spot, but I also felt like I needed to stand by what I said because I did not want to put up with her poor treatment of me. On top of that, I had a really difficult day at work. My job involves working with people who have very tough lives, and I end up heartbroken and emotionally drained quite frequently. This has become exacerbated due to the pandemic, so I really just did not want to deal with my own partner being mean to me. Ultimately, the dinner turned out fine, but she was pretty icy to me. I praised the meal a bit more than I usually did, but she was sour all night. I've started looking to get a couples counseling appointment soon. I wish I had a happier update for you, but hopefully things will get better with our new meal schedule as we continue to implement it and I continue to set boundaries. I will also be keeping an eye on her depression and suggest individual therapy if it seems appropriate. And that is the end of that story.
Ooh-wee. You know what?
Ooh-wee.
Here's another thought, right?
That's another thought.
I don't know if this is the good path or the bad path, but you're like, well, that's a hobby, not a chore. Why don't you develop
Another hobby that
where you go in, you know, you're crafting items for the house
gardening.
in a
Start
like some kind of
growing-
woodworking or stonemasonry.
Oh, I was to say like start growing like veggies and stuff that your wife can cook with.
That's actually better than anything I was saying. I was saying basically to make your wife get annoyed with your new chore hobby and then call it a chore instead of a hobby. And then maybe she would be like, oh, I see now. I should be maybe not just saying me cooking is the only thing I should be doing.
So you're saying go the passive aggressive route.
Yeah, but like that's more of a joke. Like probably don't do that, you know? If anything, do the gardening so that you can at least grow some objects that you can eat.
Yeah, but that's the end of that story, folks. My wife demanded to split the bills. Now she says it's totally unfair. Let's just splitsies.
A bit of background. We met 2 years ago, summer 2017. Both of us were fresh out of failed marriages.
Oh.
We moved in together after a year.
Oh.
She has 3 kids, 15, 13, and 8. And I have 1 daughter.
That
7.
seems like the worst type of people to rush.
Yeah. I have 1 daughter, 7, who lives with her mother in another state. I have her for the summers, school vacations, and I visit her 1 weekend a month in her home state during the school year. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Please Help 763. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we both work, though I make substantially more than she does. Her children's fathers aren't in the picture, but the state does collect child support from both of them for the children. After a family vacation in winter 2018, we had a bit of a disagreement about who should contribute what to the trip. I spent about $15K and she threw in $1K. I was fine with that, but when it came time for her to spend her portion, I was met with resistance. By the end of the argument, she said that I was basically a crappy man for asking a woman to contribute. Oh, joy. Oh, joy.
Okay.
The reality is that I paid what I could afford, and if I knew she didn't want to cover her portion, I would have planned something different. She made the decision to completely split our finances from that point on, in January 2019. I felt like it was a step back in our relationship, but she made it clear that it was her choice and that I shouldn't push the issue. So I relented and we moved on. When she made the decision, we discussed how we would split household bills. I felt 50-50 was fair since I am one of 5 people in the house. To clarify, this includes rent, utilities, all food, and cell phones for everyone. She agreed, and I figured it wouldn't be an issue. Every time she gets paid, I'm forced to inquire if she will be sending me her monthly contribution. It results in a fight, and she eventually acquiesces, albeit reluctantly. We have both grown tired of the arguments, but that doesn't help prevent them. It just makes things worse. She still has a debit card linked to my account and will use it to do her nails, hair, clothes for the kids, or go out and eat and get drinks with friends. In total, probably $1 to $2K per month. This isn't factored into what she puts towards household bills. I just don't care about that stuff as I feel like we are a family or soon to be. Lately, things have escalated, however. Today, she told me that she is the only one of her friends who has to pay bills in a relationship.
This is insane.
Oh my goodness.
Like, why is she expecting for you to take care of her and her 3 children?
Yeah.
You guys are like, one, you're not even married yet, but also that's just like an unreasonable thing to expect after never having brought that up.
Exactly. She said I'm not a gentleman for not taking care of her and her kids entirely.
That's crazy.
I asked for clarification. Does she mean that she doesn't want to pay any rent or household bills? I should be responsible for all the groceries and phones? She simply replied again that all of her friends are treated that way and everyone in her group thinks that I'm an a-hole for expecting to split.
Either her friends are all sugar babies or she's lying.
I wonder where they live.
Or they're all married. And they're like stay-at-home parents or whatever.
Yeah. I really do wonder if they live in like Utah or something.
I have no idea.
And if
she has unreasonable expectations.
Yeah. At this point, I'm lost and I need a reality check. Do men typically cover all house and food costs when a couple has separate finances?
No.
Am I being a wiener for expecting us to pay our fair share?
No.
Please help. I'm losing my mind and she has me convinced that I'm a bad person. I don't know what to do and we do have some comments, but what do we think, everyone? No. Comment number 1 says no. She wants a sugar daddy, not a partner.
Yep.
And OP says that would be heartbreaking. I love her, but I don't want to be an ATM for the rest of my life. OP says, she says the child support shouldn't go to the family pot. That it's for her kids and I have no right to know how much she receives or tell her what to do with it. She wants to put all child support into savings accounts for the children so that they have money for college or starting their lives. She told me that her exes were harmful, so no, they weren't healthy. They also don't seem to care about being in the picture, so I can't imagine that she's lying about that.
Oh my God. I have some thoughts.
Me too.
okay, we found out that both of you like had just gotten out of these not good relationships.
Yeah.
She is not ready for a relationship. She doesn't know what she wants. She's expecting you to pay for her entire life as if you were the father of these children.
Yep.
And that you were married to her, which neither are the case. You
Yeah.
are starting to try and share life together, but she is expecting you to pay for everything while also not, keeping your finances completely separate, while she gets child support, while you're also still paying for everything for her kids. That's ridiculous.
It's so insane.
She wants the money for like extra fun stuff, and she
Yeah.
wants you to pay all of the essentials.
Exactly, because she thinks she can get away with that since you guys are like
That's
in a relationship.
not reasonable.
Yeah. No,
You
not at
guys
all.
aren't married. I'm not saying that like you can't be unmarried and have like a partner who's fully supporting you.
Sure.
But this is not reasonable. She has
Yeah.
3 kids and also never said this until now.
Yeah, and even if this was a normal thing, OP, if you don't like it, you don't have to be in
You
that
don't
kind
have
of
to do that.
relationship.
Yeah.
So as long as it feels wrong to you,
Yeah, I think you guys
don't
may
have to put up
rushed
with
a
it.
bit.
yeah. But we do have an update. So a lot has happened in a short span of time. Frankly, my head is spinning. I'll do my best to provide a comprehensive recap. I got home the day I posted the last thread, and I was prepared to confront her. Unfortunately, she and the kids weren't home when we arrived. My brother and I started talking, and they returned while we were on the phone. I left the house to finish the call, and she called 15 times
Oh, yeah.
while I was outside. I ignored the calls. I got back inside and the fireworks began. We got into a verbally heated argument, but I refused to back down. She was adamant that I was disrespecting her by asking her to contribute to the house and that I wasn't a real man. She maintained her innocence throughout and continued trying to gaslight me. I wasn't having any of it, and I think that she realized that she had lost her grip over me. She left the room, effectively ending the discussion. She slept in her daughter's room. Around 11 a.m. the next day, she emerged from her daughter's room, got her bathing suit and some beach items, and took her kids out again without inviting my daughter, who cried as they left, begging to join them. Oh, this little 7-year-old doesn't know what's going on.
This is OP's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
This is so messed up. Like, this is not a person you want to be in a life, share a life with.
No, not at all. This is where things got wild, as if it hasn't already. She and her kids never returned that day, which was Sunday. I assumed that they slept at a friend's house who invited them over. I went to work Monday morning and dropped my daughter at camp per usual. I picked her up after work and we returned to the house. Literally all of their belongings were gone.
Whoa.
Wow.
I mean, trash took itself out.
I guess. She took about half the furniture in the house.
Yikes.
Oh, wow.
Theft.
Yeah, what? Especially if he's
If he's
one
paying for it.
paying for it.
Theft.
And a ton of things that were mine, she has since refused to return. I was floored. There was no communication, no indication that she was leaving, nothing. I texted her and she said that she wanted time and space to think about things and that I needed to respect that.
Wanted time and space to sell everything she stole from you on
Give
Facebook
me a
Marketplace.
minute. I'm on Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly. She said she needed to consider if she could be with someone who didn't want to fully support her and her kids.
Oh my God.
This is an insane statement. I asked her for my $30,000 engagement ring back.
That's so expensive.
Angie, I love you, but no.
Fine by me.
Okay.
Go,
Who needs
have
that?
Go to a house.
Please,
My goodness.
honestly. Jeez.
She claimed that she threw it in a lake. Oh, no.
Dude, I'm literally suing her.
Went to
Yeah.
Lake Pond. Threw it in there and they
I'm
gave me
suing her.
Yeah.
15K.
I don't believe it for a second. She likely pawned it or intends to shortly. After consulting my lawyer and family, I called the police to report what happened and file a report for my missing belongings. The police have informed me that because she lived here for over a year and her license uses the address, that the household belongings are as much hers as they are mine.
No.
Where do they live?
Dang. At least your finances are separate.
Like, I feel like that's not the law everywhere.
No, probably not.
I really am curious where this is. My attorney disagrees, and we are filing a civil suit to sue her.
Yay.
The ring is a separate matter. As I understand it, that's a conditional gift in Texas.
Yeah.
They're in
Oh, there we
Texas. And if we don't marry, it must be returned, assuming that I can
Oh.
prove her to be at fault for the end of the relationship. Okay, so there's hope.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think it was going to go that way.
Me neither.
Even if I don't win, it will be a small victory, forcing her to retain counsel and spend some money.
Money.
And you know what would be a huge victory
What?
is finding us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is.
Do it.
Just search OK Storytime, and you know what you're going to find?
Us.
You're going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one.
And us.
Victory! me. Do it. And there is a little bit more to the story, but
This sucks.
Oh my goodness.
I want to say this sucks.
yeah.
Advice: when you just get out of a relationship, especially when you just got out of seemingly a divorce where you had a kid,
Yeah.
don't immediately hop into the next one
Yeah.
and then move in within a year when
Especially-
they have multiple kids.
Yeah, and
Like, there are
especially
kids
in her
involved.
case when both of her like past relationships were harmful.
Well, we know why she got into the relationship.
Yeah.
She wanted
guess.
someone to bankroll her.
I guess so.
And,
yeah.
no.
Like if you got to give someone time to heal from all that. You can't. You gotta. We can't. We can't.
Can't be doing this.
We can't be doing that. But
Yeah,
but I'm glad you got a lawyer.
and she's out.
Sounds like the lawyer is like, nah.
we got
we
the
got
lawyer.
this, man.
Yeah,
the police was kind of like, what are you gonna
Yeah,
do?
well,
And the
that's the
lawyer's
police.
like, I'm gonna do a lot, actually.
Heck
so
yeah.
we've got a little bit more to the story. Let's
Let's hit
wrap
it.
this all up. Obviously, the relationship is over. Not sure if she realizes that, but I have listed the house since it's way too big for me, and I found a new place in the city. We move next Friday. I plan to live there while I get in therapy and fix my head. I don't think this girl ever loved me. Ouch. I was just a bank account, and the minute I cut off access to my funds, she literally left. I've never felt so worthless and unloved. Oh, I'm not sure how to recover or trust another woman, frankly. I thought that she was my soulmate. I love her and I'm still in love with her.
Ugh.
That's how effed my head is right now. I just hope it heals with time. Love sucks.
Dude,
Yeah.
it'll get better. Give it
It totally
time.
will.
She sucks.
Yeah.
It'll get better.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're fresh out of this relationship, like
give it a minute.
you're gonna be upset for sure,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean all the love is gone.
No.
It'll fade though.
It'll
It'll
fade.
fade. You'll be fine. But that's the end of that story.
I caught my boyfriend with his ex, so I took off the ring and left.
Ooh, you go, girl. Let's go.
And trigger warning for SA as in an unrequited kiss. Hi all, it's been a week since I left my fiance's apartment and guilt is starting to eat me up. So I decided to post and maybe get some outside perspective. By the way, this comes from Runaway Patat. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, for background, my fiance, 27 male, let's call him Jake, and I, 27 female, met during the last 2 years of high school. His parents are both business people in the city, but moved to our town for a change of scenery. I was the first one to actually talk to him and introduced him to my friends. He was very shy, but got comfy with us. We eventually became best friends. Later on, I developed a huge crush on him, but didn't confess, as I was afraid that if my feelings were unrequited, it would affect our friendship. I used to tease him about us getting married when we grow up, though, and he would go along with it. We got separated in college as we took different fields. He took business ad and I took IT. And he attended his dream school back in the city, which his parents fully supported. I, on the other hand, attended a local college as we weren't wealthy enough to get me anywhere. My mom passed away when I was 7, which destroyed my dad. He fell into bad habits and only pulled himself together when he had a health scare when I was 12. He had to switch to a lighter job because of this. We're living comfortably, but I didn't want to bother him for my personal expenses, so I took a part-time job at my aunt's bakery. I also took a scholarship, which helped my dad with my college expenses. Jake would go home to visit his parents every weekend. This was also the time when our friend group would hang out. As time passed, our friends started to get busier to the point that it was just the two of us who continued hanging out. During this time, he met his then girlfriend, 27 female, let's call her Claire. He asked me one weekend if he should confess, and I told him if that's what would make him happy. A month later, he brought Claire with him to introduce her to his parents as well as our friend group. Claire was visibly tense around me, so I did my best so she wouldn't be. Jake didn't visit as often anymore, but if he did, he would always bring Claire with him. As for me, I still had feelings for him, but seeing him happy was already enough for me. I respected his relationship and became more careful with my interactions with him. We used to chat a lot, but now we only chatted if he initiated. Whenever the two of them came to visit, I maintained my distance and avoided crossing any boundaries. However, one weekend, Jake came alone and asked me if we could talk. Side note about Jake, he's stupidly honest. When he wants to say something important, he always wants to do it personally, not through chat, text, call, or even a third party. That's why I was so nervous when he asked me. I met him in our usual hangout spot, and there he told me that we might not be able to hang out anymore as often. He told me that Claire was actually not comfortable with our friendship, and they had already started having some disagreements. He told me he was sorry, that he didn't know what to do. I told him that it was okay and that I would always be right here if he needed. Once I got got home, I chatted with Claire and apologized for making her feel uncomfortable. She apologized too and acknowledged my efforts for not crossing any boundaries, but she just couldn't shake the feeling of unease. After that, I cried the whole night. Thankfully, my dad was there to comfort me. He told me to let all my pain out, and I promised myself to never cry for the same reason again. After that, the communication between Jake and me went down to just greetings during birthdays and holidays. I just focused on myself and was able to get my degree. I took some interviews and landed a job in the city. I had to move to the city alone at first, but after my dad relapsed and got hospitalized, I brought him with me. At first, he didn't want to come as he hated living in the city, but I was persistent. I didn't want him out of my sight. I didn't want to lose another parent. One afternoon during late October of 2019, I was doing some groceries when I bumped into Jake. I was so surprised to see him personally after almost 4 years. He greeted me and said he was relocating to this city and was living nearby. He then invited me to a nearby cafe to catch up, which I accepted. We pretty much caught up on everything that happened. I asked him how he and Claire were doing. He said that they had broken up around March that year. He told me they discovered how different their life goals were, which led to a lot of arguments. They decided to split up on good terms, but he said it actually hurt him so much as Claire was his first love. The air felt tense, so I just shifted the conversation back to our high school days. He brought up how I used to tease him about marrying him when we grew up, and I joked about us being adults now. At that moment, I just decided to confess to him. Wow, that I actually had a huge crush on him and decided not to confess because I was afraid to lose the friendship we had. You still have a crush on him after 4 years?
I don't think that was the right moment.
That wasn't the right moment.
That categorically not the right moment.
You still had a crush on after 4 years? Like an active crush? I then let go of it when he brought Claire one day as a sign of respect to the relationship. He again fell silent, then apologized. He said he just realized how big the impact probably was when he asked me to go low contact for Claire's sake. I told him that it was fine and that I thought that it was the best that we could do to put Claire at ease at the time. He was visibly guilty, so I told him that it was all in the past now. After that, he offered to drive me home, which saved me some money on commute. I thanked him and we started chatting again like the old times. Our friend group decided to have a reunion around December that year. It was also when Jake asked me on a date. He said he did some reflection and realized that maybe he was actually dating the wrong girl all along. Shocked, I agreed to the date, and it led to another until we became official. Then came 2020 with the threat of the virus.
The virus.
My dad and I decided to go back to town before the city locked down. Jake also decided to be with his family during this time, so all three of us traveled back to town. Jake introduced me as his girlfriend to his parents through video call. They already knew me for a long time as I was the first friend Jake had back in high school. They were overjoyed about it, which made us happy. Mid-2022, I lost my dad. I was so mad at myself as I was seeing the signs. I was begging him to get checked, but he kept telling me he was fine. We got him checked, but it was too late. I was so heartbroken losing my remaining parent. Fortunately, my aunt's family and Jake's family were very supportive.
Don't blame yourself. Can't blame yourself for that.
Yeah.
It's not up to you.
Jake even promised on my dad's grave that he would take care of me for the rest of our lives, which brought me to tears. After his funeral, we decided that I'd move to Jake's apartment. We had to go back to the city as companies started requiring employees to go back to the office again. And from then on, we were living together. Fast forward to Jake's department's New Year's party in 2024. Their families were invited, but since Jake's parents weren't able to travel, I was the only one he could bring. What I didn't expect was him proposing to me that night. Everyone was in on it, and it was actually so magical. After everything that happened between us back in college, this is something I never imagined would happen. But here we are. It was actually a dream come true. We decided to get married in June. I thought everything would be smooth sailing from here, but unfortunately, this is when everything started to go downhill. And here we are at the problem. Around March 2024, I started to see some changes in Jake. He was a bit distant. I didn't talk as much before. Worried, I immediately talked to him about this. He told me that this was actually a very challenging year for their company, even more than the last. He blamed it on stress and apologized. I believed him. As I said earlier, he's stupidly honest, but he didn't change for the better. I think his behavior got worse. He didn't show any signs of cheating. Although I'd seen him more glued to his phone, he never really hid it from me. I knew his passcode and had my own fingerprint registered on his phone, and he never changed it or removed it. He never came home at unreasonable hours, no late night work, or any work travel at all. I had many sit downs with him and he always blamed stress. Now it's already nearing the end of April and no plans were created for our wedding.
What? You're 2 months out of wedding time? No, you got to push it back.
You have to push it back.
Or to do a secret.
Jake asked to talk and asked me to move the wedding to September. He said he was still pretty much occupied with work and didn't want to get on our special day distracted instead of being happy. I understood this. So we moved the wedding to September. But we had the same talk during August and moved the wedding to November until we ultimately decided to get married in May next year. He was very apologetic, and I told him that I understood, but to please do something for himself as I'm starting to get worried about him. I stopped having these conversations with him as I feel like it only adds more pressure to him, which I didn't want. One day in late January 2025, Jake had a headache in the morning that he had to take an SL for the day. I made sure he had everything he needed before leaving for work and planned to check on him in the afternoon. Oh no, I see you. I remember it was raining all day that day. I went back to check on him during lunch, but was not prepared for what I was about to witness. When I opened the door, I saw him and Claire kissing in the hallway to our bedroom. I froze and just stared back at them until my vision started to get blurry. My mind went everywhere, but I was snapped back to reality when Jake called my name. He was about to approach me, so I instinctively did a 180 and power walked out of the apartment building. It felt like I disconnected from my body and it went on autopilot.
That's called depersonalization.
I didn't know where to go, but the goal was to get far away. I was swimming with thoughts and lost my awareness. I was pulled back to down to earth when I slipped and fell down the stairs outside our apartment building. I slid down from the last 4 steps and hit my head on the edge of the step. I felt an intense pain immediately on my head and tried rubbing the area, thinking it would lessen the pain, but panic set in when I saw blood on my head. I was so stressed and overwhelmed that I lost consciousness. Oh my God. Before I blacked out, I heard Jake calling me. Oh my God. I woke up in a hospital a few hours later. The nurse said that fortunately I didn't break any bones, but to expect some pain in my lower body as I had huge bruises. She also said that they already scanned my head as per Jake's request and didn't find anything else, but they had to stitch my head wound. She said I'd be under observation overnight, and if nothing goes wrong, then I'll be able to be discharged the next day.
Well, hey, say what you will about Jake, but at least he did say, get her head checked.
I'm kind of wondering, based off of what we know from the beginning of the story, if she kissed him.
Either way, no.
She reminded me to please inform them if I feel anything wrong so they can check immediately. I thanked her and she left. As soon as she left, Jake rushed to my side and held my hand, which I pulled back. He asked me to please let him explain as what I'd seen was a misunderstanding. I didn't talk nor look at him that time because my heart would break, but I think he took my silence as yes. He took a deep breath and started explaining that during their company-wide celebration around March, he unexpectedly met Claire.
So this is now so that was 2 months ago.
And he didn't tell you.
Yep, so that's a lie. That's deceit.
He swore he didn't know Claire was also working in the same company. He said she was probably in a different department, which means different location. At first, he wanted to ignore her, but since they split up on a good note, he hesitantly greeted her back. And then he said they started talking again after that. Something in me snapped when I heard that because I knew he started acting strange around that same time. I cut him off and asked him if that's the reason why he started getting distant. He was visibly shocked and was about to defend himself, but I didn't let him. I told him that it all made sense now, why he changed all of a sudden, why he had to move our wedding 3 times. It's because he and Claire met again. I started ugly crying and asked why he did this to me. I was kind to him all throughout. Why would he take me so high just to drop me back down? He was trying to comfort me, but I didn't let him. He then took another deep breath and told me that we should just continue our conversation next time when I calmed down. He told me that I'm currently overwhelmed and will not accept anything he says because my emotions will control me. He said he'll give me space, and he went to the bed opposite the room. I tried to compose myself as the nurses checked on me every 30 minutes, I think, but I couldn't hide myself silently crying. Fortunately, none of them pried and just advised me to take some rest. I just kept crying, and around midnight, I heard Jake leave the room, leaving me alone with my thoughts. What else could it be then? Why would he be kissing his ex in our apartment in the hallway to our bedroom? Why didn't he tell me they met again for a whole year then? Was he just blaming everything on stress to cover up? I didn't see any signs of him cheating. Is he testing the waters? Is he checking if the two of them could work things out, and if not, he'll just marry me instead? I felt like my whole world just crumbled down. I guessed everything was indeed just a fantasy. After getting discharged, I knew he was trying to bring up the conversation again, but he couldn't. We were not talking ever since it happened. My performance at work dropped, which led my manager to ask me if there was any problem. I was close to her as we worked together for so many years now, so I was comfortable spilling everything out to her. She told me maybe I should take a leave of absence and get into therapy, but since we are only allowed to take up 2 months of leave of absence, I don't think it'll be enough for me. I also didn't want to be a burden to my teammates, so I decided to resign and let her know. She told me to contact her if I wanted to come back, which I appreciated. I rendered my last month through February and March, and Jake didn't know anything about this. I felt so suffocated and really wanted out. I felt like passing away every day, and it's like the pain gets more intense the longer I stay with him. I plan to also just leave him and go back to town, which I already let my aunt know. She's currently the caretaker of our family. Last week when Jake left for work, I packed my bags and left. I left a note for him with the engagement ring and told him all the things I can't say personally as I'm too hurt to face him. I arrived at my family home around dusk. He tried calling and texting me, but I ignored him all of it. I just sent him a text that I safely arrived and to please give me some space. He replied that he would still be waiting for me to give him another chance to talk and will not bother me anymore. What pushed me to post this is because his parents visited me earlier today. His mom, 57 female, let's call her Anna, informed me that Jake also went home 2 days after I left. She said he was wrecked. She asked what happened, and he only informed them about what I saw. His parents were obviously shocked, but he said it was not the full story. When asked, he didn't want to tell them because he was suspecting that they would visit me and tell me what he told them, and he didn't like that. He said he wanted to tell everything to me by himself and wanted everything to come from him. Even when they promised they wouldn't tell me, he wouldn't budge.
He's like, I have to master manipulate the situation.
Well,
you guys don't have the
if you
chops.
guys tell it, she's just going to be like, oh, I never want to get back with him.
If she
But
hears
if I
it from
tell
me, once I figure out how to lay it down, she's going to be in love with me the rest of eternity.
Now his father, 58 male, let's call him John, told me that they're not here to beg for me to give Jake a chance to explain. He said they also wanted to know my side. I told them everything that happened since March last year. They were silent for a while. Then Anna told me that no matter what my decision will be, they will support me. But they're also hoping that I find it in my heart to give Jake a chance, because while it might look suspicious, they believe that Jake would not hurt me. She said that they will still always be there for me if I ever needed help, even if I decide to break up with Jake, that they'll understand. I cried as they were actually very kind people, and I'm actually sad that this happened to us. I started to doubt my decisions, that maybe I should have let him say his piece. I also asked my aunt for advice, but even she was also torn as she believes Jake wouldn't do such a thing, that maybe there's an explanation. She told me to first let every negative emotion flow out of me. Then once I have a clear head, that's when I should make a decision. I'm so sorry if this got too long, but I hope I gave the details you guys needed. Am I the a-hole for leaving him without giving him a chance to explain his side? 2 days after I posted, I was invited by my closest cousin, my aunt's eldest, 26 female, call her Jean, to work part-time again in their bakery. She said my aunt knows I'm not struggling financially, but maybe it'll help me put my mind off things. I've been working there for 2 days now. I always leave my phone whenever I go to work so I won't get distracted or be reminded of anything. But today, something caught my eye when I checked for notifications when I got home. I saw Claire chatted with, "OP, please read first, don't block me yet," on the preview. I opened it out of curiosity and wondered why it's in all caps. I decided to just summarize the message because it was a bit long, but for those of who are interested, I will post her whole message. Trigger warning, SA, sorry, I don't know how to add another flare. For the summary, Claire apologized and said it was all her fault. She realized Jake's importance months after the breakup and tried finding him again. Applied to the same company to meet him, but was in a different department, so she wasn't able to meet him yet. Met him for the first time during their company's party and started messaging him through Teams, work, and Messenger. She got more desperate when she found out he was already engaged with me. She tried using his weakness against him. Jake doesn't like being talked about or getting involved in any public scenes for him to engage with her because he started avoiding her. Jake had enough and reported her to HR last January. She went to our apartment confirming that she indeed knew where we were staying when Jake didn't come to the office during D-Day as a last resort. She tried forcing him to let her in by crying and getting other people's attention to pressure Jake. She begged for him to love her again, which Jake declined, explaining we're already engaged and happy. She got mad when Jake refused her hug and threatened to accuse him of abuse. And Jake begged her to just leave and that he was done with her. She tried to get closer, but Jake backed up, but he tripped on something and she took the opportunity that he was distracted and hugged him tight and kissed him. Then she was shocked when she saw me on the doorway. Jake yelled at her after I left, which is something he never did to her before, and said that he hated her from the bottom of his heart. She finally had some clarity and realized what she did. She then apologized again, saying both Jake and I didn't deserve what happened. She said she can't get over the guilt. She tried reaching out to Jake, but he already blocked her everywhere. I'm actually terrified after reading this. I was trembling when I finished. I was so mad and disgusted and afraid at the same time. So she's been pestering Jake for a whole year and even kissed him unconsensually. I feel worse now that I didn't let him explain. But I'm also thinking maybe he asked Claire to take the fall. Or maybe this is just what I think to comfort myself, to think she was lying, that those things didn't happen to Jake. I don't know. I'm so confused. But you know what's never confusing? Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. I was thinking of sending this to his parents, but I feel like this was also the reason why he wouldn't tell them anything in the first place. I'm really sorry, guys. I feel like a coward right now. By the way, I just wanted to thank you guys for sharing your thoughts in the first post. It helped me set my mind that maybe I don't really need to hear Jake's side. But after Claire's message, it kind of threw me back to the same hole I was in last week. No, that's it.
Yikes.
There again, I don't want to say, that there is no possibility that Jake was not assaulted.
It's incredibly slim.
I don't want to say that because
perspective.
maybe there is a chance and that's totally not okay. And Claire, that's awful. Awful. Should not have happened to him. However, there's also a chance that he's lying to you and he's involving Claire in this now.
If Claire's so obsessed and wanting this guy back, where's Claire, I don't know, at dinner time?
Yeah.
So Claire just happens to show up to the house the one day where your husband was your fiance is like, oh, I've got a headache, I got to stay home, and now she's there, and it's like it doesn't.
Well, you're supposed to be out for a while.
It doesn't make any sense. It's too convenient.
It's really
way too convenient. I saw a comment that said something along the lines of I don't tell my SO everything, which is fair. It's you don't need to tell your significant other everything. But if you run into the ex-girlfriend that you guys both have a history with that is very much I don't know if cornerstone is the right word, but it's she was heavily involved in y'all's story of how y'all got together.
Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty freaking relevant to be hey, well, you won't believe who works for my company.
Yeah.
If it was my partner, she'd find out day one.
Exactly.
Unless I was hiding it from her because I'm
And also, he submitted an HR report and never told you. But that's the end of that story and the end of that episode. If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you and see you tomorrow.
My fiance wore my wedding dress under the influence and ruined it.
Are you sure he wasn't slaying?
This sounds completely ridiculous, but it really happened and I can't stop thinking about it. Some people are telling me I completely overreacted, and I'm starting to question myself. What do you think he did?
I think he got drinky and he ripped the dress.
Ooh, yeah. I'm 28 and was supposed to get married last weekend to my fiance Nick, who's 30. We've been together for 4 years. He's funny and a little bit impulsive, but I always thought he had a good judgment. He drinks socially, but I've never seen him totally out of control until now. By the way, this comes from RudeWinter9192, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So,
Dang.
The night before our wedding, I stayed at home with my sister and 2 of my bridesmaids for a relaxed night. Nick went out with his groomsmen. I expect him to come home tipsy at most. At around 1:30 in the morning, he came home absolutely wasted. Slurring, stumbling, sweaty. I was brushing my teeth when I heard him banging around the guest room. When I went to check, I saw him dragging my wedding dress out of the closet.
No.
But you've caught him, so you can say, hey, stop.
Yeah, you go, what are you doing?
I asked what he was doing, and he just laughed and said, you want to see how it felt to be the bride?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I told him to put it back and not to touch it, but he was not listening at all. Right in front of me, he stripped down completely and started putting on the dress. He could barely get it over his body and kept tripping over the train. I didn't know what to say. Then he dropped to the floor in the dress, still laughing. Then he went quiet. looked up at me with a panicked face and said, "Oh no."
He said,
Oh no.
A few seconds later, he had an accident.
"Oh no.
Diarrhea.
Oh no.
I don't even want to read this part.
Oh.
It was bad. I'm just going to say it was bad.
Oh, it's so much worse than what I thought."
Yeah, I thought he ripped at the dress, but he just ripped himself.
He ripped.
That's maybe the worst possible option.
Oh man.
That's gross.
Just was thrown into a furnace
Yeah.
and incinerated.
Maybe that's better.
Might actually be better.
I stood there in shock while he started crying and tried to get out of the dress, which only made more of a mess. Oh.
God.
Oh. It was everywhere.
It's no longer a white dress, it's a brown dress.
Ew.
Oh.
I told him to get in the shower and I left. I drove straight to my mom's house and didn't take any of his calls. The next morning, I called off the wedding. The day of the wedding. I mean, how do you get married after that? Well, you know what? Actually, no. Yeah. I was going to say, like, maybe that's like the final test.
It's like,
The final test, if you still love the person after that, it's like, okay, you guys are ready. But that's pretty bad.
it's just like, why is this happening now?
Now, the day before.
Also, is that typically when the bachelor party's supposed to happen?
No!
The day before the wedding?
I was about to say, like, why was he so, like, wasted the day before the wedding?
Yeah.
Why would you want to be hungover the day before your wedding?
What are we doing?
I've done some stuff for like the bachelor party before the night before, but they're like, don't go out of control.
Yeah, there's a whole movie about that.
It's the weird part is that she said that he's never done this or doesn't do this, and this is like the first time she had ever even seen him out of control like
the
that.
one time.
Yeah.
Why is it happening the day before your wedding?
Maybe it's like the pre-wedding jitters and it just got,
Now it's the pre-wedding.
oh man.
I can't say it.
Since then, Nick has apologized over and over. He said he blacked out and barely remembers what happened. His family is furious with me and saying I'm throwing away a great relationship over a wasted mistake. Some of my friends agree and think I should have postponed instead of canceling. Even my maid of honor said I might be letting emotions take over and that it wasn't unforgivable.
See, but like,
They
then
weren't
you gotta
there.
tell me, I'd be like, y'all didn't see it. Like,
Y'all didn't smell it.
She said exactly what happened, you know?
I mean, like,
Would you, if your partner had this happen, would you just say they got wasted and ruined the dress? Because I probably wouldn't say everything that happened if I was still like thinking about staying with
yeah,
the
no,
person.
I think they've checked out. I think it's one of those things where it's like, I just can't ever look at you again without seeing you pooping yourself in my wedding dress.
Oh.
So I don't know.
No, I'm saying, do you think that she told everyone else?
Well, I mean, I think if you're planning on staying,
Yeah,
you probably don't.
wouldn't
But
tell.
if you're planning on leaving, you don't really care.
Yeah, because I'm
So,
thinking,
yeah, I think it's over.
well, she's only said that she canceled the wedding. We don't know if they're like breaking up, which they might be. But I feel like if she's planning on breaking up with him, probably told everyone. If she's not planning, she might not have told everyone. And so that's why maybe they're like, oh, it's forgivable. He just like got wasted, made a
The
mistake.
ball is rolling down.
I don't
the
know.
hill.
At this moment, for all three of us, where do we stand? Do we break up or we just like postpone the wedding and like have a actual discussion?
I would postpone the wedding. I wouldn't break up until I had an actual conversation because we don't know why this happened.
Yeah. What if he was like, oh no, honey, like I don't like you tell him like because he doesn't know. He's like he legitimately doesn't know.
I mean, I don't want to jump to the worst conclusion, but there are a lot of reasons why a person, like there's he might have been given something, that he didn't know about. Like that's the worst possible thing. But like there are so many different reasons why it could have been that he got super wasted and didn't realize, there are a lot of different reasons, some that are totally within his control, some that are not. And I would want to have a conversation before I made any like huge decisions.
I think you can not get married. I think if it's me, I'm like, all right, I'm no longer ready to get married to you.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know you were capable of such things.
But I feel like something broke that night. I didn't just feel disgusted. I felt disrespected. The dress wasn't just expensive. It was important to me. It symbolized something. I cannot unsee what happened. I can't laugh about it or move on like it's just one bad night. I don't know how to look at him the same way. Am I overreacting for calling off the wedding? Relevant comments. Does Nick have problems with booze or substances? OP says he's never had problems with booze before, not that I know of at least. Do you think it's a sign of something worse? Commenter 1 says, is this something that happens often? Does he often get blackout wasted? If yes, consider this a bullet dodged. Either way, it's a little concerning he got blackout wasted the day before your wedding. I think you need to have a conversation to figure out whether this is a relationship worth saving. OP says, no, this is the first time he's ever gotten this wasted in the time I've known him, which is why I think I might be overreacting. Commenter 1 says, is it possible that someone put something in his drink? Which is what I was thinking. From your description, this is not in character for your fiancé. OP says, I hadn't thought of that. Maybe. Could it really have caused all of that? Also, he was out with his friends, not like he was with strangers. Yeah, but, there are many circumstances that,
Yeah.
It can happen.
Look, I don't even think it has anything to do with the circumstances, the context. I think it's the same thing. It's the same kind of situation of like, if someone like cheats on you and you get back together, you're still always gonna, you might have a situation where it's like, when I see you, I just see you like with that other guy. And now it's like, regardless of if you meant to, or if you were blacked out, or if you whatever, when I see you, I see that version of you that did that in the wedding dress right before we got married. And I can't stop seeing it. So I don't, like, if that's the case,
yeah,
I don't know where you go from there. A lot of therapy, maybe?
Yeah. To forget it.
Come on.
Some diapers.
Ooh.
Just
Commenter
hard.
2 says, people are still themselves when they are blackout wasted.
That's not true.
That's not.
That is the most least untrue thing.
That's just a weird comment to make, to be like, people are themselves when they're blackout wasted. Like, this man would not,
Not cognizant.
like relieve himself if he were sober.
This man's been wanting to poop in a wedding dress his whole life.
He's always wanted it. Like, come on, that's a
Every
silly
wedding wasted he sees when he is wasted, he's like, that's my next target.
Yeah, that's an excuse. That's like a thing that you say when someone cheats on their partner.
That's my toilet paper.
I see the cut too of this guy
He's like,
standing
"Hey, who's white?"
in front of the window of a bridal shop, just like looking longingly into it. And then his wife's like, "What are you thinking about, honey?" He goes, "Oh, nothing. You wouldn't understand.
I gotta go to the bathroom now." Yeah.
I've seen my husband fend off flirty women when he was so wasted. He was still himself when he ignored you. He was still himself when he wore your wedding dress, something that is obviously special and off limits. I disagree with this comment.
Yeah, no,
The dress is the most important item of the most important day of your life, and he pooped on it. No one forced him to get that wasted, and he was still himself when wasted. OP says, I don't know. I'm worried some of his friends might have been pressuring him to drink. Commenter 3 says, it's the series of bad decisions that gets me here. First, getting piss, or in this case, crap wasted the night before your wedding. 30-year-olds can't bounce back like a 21-year-old can. Being hungover at your own wedding is a bad look. Go ham at the bachelor party, sure, but maybe keep it to a couple drinks max the night before. Second, it's deciding to wastedly put on your fiance's dress. I'll be honest, I'd be terrified to go anywhere near it until after the wedding. I wouldn't want to be the cause of any sort of issue with it, especially with T-minus 24 hours until the wedding. Third, it's the decision to keep going even though you're struggling and ignoring your pleas to stop. Hard to excuse so many bad decisions in such a short time.
Okay, this is just somebody writing a comment like fundamentally not understanding what blacking out is.
Yeah, I think that
What you still decide to drink that much.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can criticize him deciding to drink that much and therefore, doing all of this. But I feel like to say, like, I can't believe he ignored you. Can't believe he put like, this man is blackout.
Like, this person's just never been around someone drunk like their whole life, really.
This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm picturing. He walks into the room. He's like, I'm going to put on the dress. It's going to be really funny. And he's like, I'm going to fart in it. It's going to be really funny.
No.
Dude.
The thing that got me was the fact that he's like, I want to see what it's like to be a bride. I want to feel what it's like to be a bride. It's like,
yeah.
Do we have some like unresolved? What's going on there?
Oh, 100%. There's something weird to that. But I think
That's
he was
probably
just,
the
he's just
real
trying to be
emotional
funny.
core.
He was just trying to be funny. And then he just totally Uno reversed himself.
But update. Hi again. First off, thank you to everyone who responded. I didn't expect the level of tension my post got. And honestly, reading the replies made me feel less alone. Some people told me I was right to call it off. Others said it was a terrible mistake, but not unforgivable. Both sides helped me see the situation more clearly. I spoke to Nick this morning, not for closure, not for a big emotional talk, just to return some things and check in about logistics since everything's been canceled. But we ended up sitting down and talking for over an hour. He apologized again, sincerely. He didn't try to defend himself or shift blame. He told me he didn't remember everything clearly, but knows he came home wasted, saw the dress, and in his words, thought it would be funny or meaningful or something. He didn't mean to ruin the dress. He didn't mean to humiliate me, but he did. And he knows that. He said he's ashamed of what happened and how out of control he let himself get. He also admitted this wasn't the first time his drinking led to something bad, which is probably why you haven't seen him drink, really. He said this was a wake-up call and that he's going to stop drinking entirely. I didn't even know he had a problem. The thing is, I still care about him. We were supposed to get married. I didn't walk away from someone I didn't love, but something inside me cracked that night and it hasn't healed. I don't know if it will. I know it sounds superficial to some people, but for me, it was a symbol of our future, of the person I thought I was marrying. And watching him defile it in that state, whether on purpose or by accident, changed something. I've been trying to figure out if that one night should be the end of 4 years together, but it's not really just that one night, is it? It's what it revealed about how he handles stress, about how far he let himself go, about how I felt standing in that room watching someone I loved become almost unrecognizable. By the way, you should recognize that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Epoke Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Dude, sometimes like a moment happens and you just can't un-moment the moment.
Yeah. You can recognize that you've made a terrible mistake and you can recognize that you have a problem with drinking, but you've already hurt the person that you love.
Oof, can't go back and undo that.
Yeah. And it's like a great, I am very proud of him for making, or like at least, thinking about making this decision, saying like, I never want to drink again. I want to like going forward. Don't want to do that again. Obviously, we don't know if he's going to fall through, but hopefully, I think that's a big decision.
I gotta say, something like that
Yeah.
should probably make you stop.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, there
like
are
if
moments.
you can't stop after that, that's a very serious issue.
Exactly. There are moments in your life where you hit rock bottom like this and you realize, wow, I need to make a giant change. But unfortunately, sometimes when we hit that rock bottom, you don't always get to sometimes you lose the people that you care about.
Yeah.
I'm not giving him full, like, all right, you're off the hook. But the one thing I appreciate from him, he's taking full accountability and he's not blaming his friends. Like, he's like, oh, yeah. Like, he didn't mention his friends. We don't know. But from what his words seem legit.
No, I think that he's like, I don't want to, sit here and be like, he sucks. He's the worst. He's an a-hole. Like, this is a man who made a very bad mistake, recognizes that, wants to make a change in his life. Doesn't mean that OP has to stay with him.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Exactly.
No matter how bad you want to, because you're just like, I just see the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Every time I think about you, that's what I see in my head.
Mhm.
And I can't keep going if I see that.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I don't know, I've seen some comments. I'm in no way like being like, well, if you get blacked out because you don't know what you're doing, it absolves you of all responsibility. In no universe would I think that. But it's more like we had some comments where it almost sounded like someone didn't understand that when you get to a point of blacked out inebriation, like there are biomechanical processes in your brain that turn off.
Yeah.
And you no longer are at the helm. You are not driving the car anymore. It's
Also,
just going.
yeah. But there's a little bit left to this story. I haven't made a final decision yet. Technically, the wedding is still canceled, but the relationship isn't officially over. We're on kind of an emotional pause. That's fair. I guess he says he wants to make things right. And maybe he will. Maybe with time, I'll want to try again. But right now, I still feel like I'm grieving something that ended. And I don't know if I'm ready to build it back from scratch. So I guess I'm now asking, am I overreacting if I walk away from this completely? Top commenter says, not at all overreacting. This is not about the dress, but what it meant to feel powerless as he did something stupid, thoughtless, and immature after drinking himself into a stupor, and the glimpse into your future you got that you couldn't gaslight yourself into ignoring because it ruined something so symbolic and expensive. Believe the symbolism. This is a red flag. Not that he's a bad person, but that this partnership might come with significant difficulty long term as he continues to cope with life stresses in immature ways that leave you always having to be the adult in the house. I've been in relationships where I've made excuses for every red flag. I've seen loved ones endure relationships with addicts, hoping they'll change if they just pour enough love in. None of them realized there was a problem at first either, but it seems like your boyfriend is admitting there is something to that theory. None of the aforementioned relationships had a happy ending, and most have been extremely, extremely bad in a way that seemed uncharacteristic for the partner when he finally hit rock bottom. He may genuinely want to change, and you may be hopeful that could fix some things. But long term, a lot of people have trouble quitting substances when nothing of significance has changed for them. And they're still in a situation where they can see opportunities to drink or use and know they can without losing much. Comfort and stability are your enemies when fighting addiction because they enable a reticence to change. I want to add, staying in a relationship where you feel like you have to be the adult and take steps to manage the other person's behavior gets extremely taxing and builds a lot of resentment very quickly. Think of this as something that tore off your rose-colored glasses and made you look at an ugliness you didn't want to see, held your eyes open to a version of your future you didn't anticipate. If you are absolutely 100% sure this is a one-time thing, it might be repairable. But I feel like if you're willing to lose all the money and effort sunk into planning a wedding and go through the ordeal of canceling, that seems like it implies a larger issue underneath, whether it's about the way he handles stress, his propensity to hurt you with little careless things, or how often you envision yourself cleaning up his messes or managing his behavior in your lives together. The cliche is true. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I made excuses for everything my ex did that made my skin crawl. And when we finally broke up, I was worried he might actually hurt me for months. Even now, a few years later, I don't think that was crazy. I think he was more than capable of it, resented me, and I believe tried to break into my apartment. Obviously a different situation, but for years, other people in our lives had tried to point out red flags to me, and he did things that definitely gave me a lot of pause. But I always opted to look for the best in him. In hindsight, I embellished and exaggerated some goodness that wasn't really there. I lost 5 years of my life to that relationship, and figuring out where to go from here has been incredibly difficult. I wish I had left the first time something he said or did gave me the sinking feeling of, this is my future and I don't like it, rather than convincing myself I was overreacting and being unfair. Please learn from my mistakes. And that is the end of that story. And that, to be clear, was a commenter, not OP saying all that. I think that, Dakota, you have a really good point of, this might be the only thing that she ever thinks about, which is valid. And if that is the case and you really can't see yourself ever forgetting or ever getting over it, then, maybe this relationship is not going to work out in the long term. And that's okay. But maybe there is a chance. Maybe you can have that conversation. Maybe, as he begins this journey of sobriety, you're like, you know what? I see that he's willing to change. I'm willing to give it a chance. That's also okay. There are many different paths for you.
This could have been the same story if with just a different, it could have been, he came home really drunk and then he started telling me about how the earth is hollow and full of lizard people and how we're going to fight back against the lizards and we're going to make our family nice and we're going to have a strong family together. And then after he said that, I could never be like, honey, are you sure you don't think the earth is hollow and full of lizards? He's like, no, I swear I don't. It's like, yeah, but you really, really meant it that one time you said it to me. Yeah. And now I can't stop seeing you as a guy who thinks the lizards are going to invade from the center of the earth. So I don't think this is working anymore.
And we do have another story, folks.
My fiance refused to put my name on the mortgage, so I refused to pay.
If it ain't got my name on it, then it ain't mine.
facts. We learned that in first grade. For some background, I, 29 female, and my fiance, 30 male, have been together for 10 years. We had a baby back in 2020, and I lost my job around the same time. Our lease to our apartment was up, and my grandma offered for us to move in with her, so we did. We basically had our own little apartment rent-free. By the way, this comes from user Embarrassing Lemon, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I had thrown the idea of going to school out there, and everyone agreed it was a good idea. My fiance paid for it, and my grandma watched my baby while I went to class. I graduate this semester. I did part-time for a couple semesters, and my fiance has been making $90,000 a year for the past couple of years.
Wow.
And $70,000 when we first moved in. He saved a good amount of money. We agreed to wait to get married until I finished school and we could buy a house together. We've been looking at houses more seriously for the past couple of months, and we found one we both love. We started talking to a mortgage broker, and that's when he dropped the bomb on it being him and only him on the mortgage and the deed. He said I wouldn't have anything to do with it. I didn't say anything in the meeting, but afterwards I told him I thought we were buying the house together.
Yeah.
And I'd pay half the mortgage. He said I would be paying half the mortgage, but my name just wouldn't be on it.
If you're paying half the mortgage, put your name on it, man.
I told him that would mean I had no right to the house, and he said he knew. He said since he saved the 40% down, that it's only fair that he has the rights to the house in case we end things. I told him if that's what he wants to do, then I'm not paying for the mortgage. I said this isn't a partnership, and if he just wants his own place, that's fine, but I'm not paying for it. He called me a B. He says that he paid for everything for the past few years, including my schooling. I told him I stayed home and watched our child so we didn't have to pay for daycare, and that ended up saving us money since I would have only been able to work part-time. He said he didn't care and that I need to pay for half since I already agreed to it, which is fine. Put me on the mortgage. Put me on the mortgage then.
Thank God you guys aren't married yet.
Reddit, am I the a-hole for refusing to pay the mortgage? Not at all. Not at all.
Nope. Don't
even
pay
offered
for
a
something that you're
compromise.
not on. Nope.
See, that's fine. If you weren't like, how dare you? You're like, fine. If you want the house, you can have the house, but you have to pay for the mortgage.
Yeah. If you want it to be just your house, then buy it.
So there's an edit here. Originally, we were supposed to move in with my grandma for a few months while we saved some money for renting a new place. I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to go to school so I'd make more money and we could potentially buy a place. My grandma said we should stay with her until I finished school so we could save up for a life together, and my fiance and I agreed that we would be buying a house together. He paid for the schooling because we were getting married and my student loans would have been our problem, not just mine. He encouraged me to finish my education so we could give our child a better quality of life. Another edit, for those of you saying him paying for my schooling would be more expensive than rent, my schooling in total cost $17,000 across 5 years, which is $3,400 a year on average. And there is an update. First, thank you to everyone who commented. A lot of you had great insight and were very supportive. To those who weren't, I got to see a perspective of how my fiance might be feeling. So thank you for that too, although some of you were extremely misogynistic. To answer some questions, my grandma offered to give us a place to stay for a few months while I looked for a job, so we could save some money. This was the beginning of the lockdown and no one was sure what the job market would look like in the future. I had brought up finishing my degree and my grandma offered to watch the baby while I was in class. My fiance said he'd pay for it since we didn't have to pay for rent or daycare. He called it, my schooling, an investment in our future. I got a Pell Grant and a scholarship, so we ended up only having to pay on average $3,400 a year for the schooling. If I wasn't going to school, my grandma didn't want us staying there long term. This was purely her trying to give us a leg up and help us in our future. She wouldn't have done so if she knew what my fiance was going to do. She has said this. For the update, I told my fiance we needed to talk about this arrangement, and I asked why he changed his mind all of a sudden. He said he worked hard for his money and didn't want to lose everything if we got divorced.
That's what prenups are for.
Right, it's
That's
like,
what
why?
prenups are for.
Why did we not? Are we not gonna do that? Do we not?
Yeah.
Are we
The
not
thing is,
doing
like,
that?
He's thinking so selfishly. Because right now, supposedly they're in a
incredibly
relationship
disrespectful.
that's supposedly good.
Right.
But his thinking is, well, I want you to get nothing right now while they're in a good relationship. He's not even thinking like, oh, if we got divorced, I would want, it to be fair and equitable. Like, hopefully that never happens. Right now, he's thinking, I want you to get nothing. I want
Certainly
you
not
to
the
be
house.
screwed over. Yeah.
I want you to have no rights to the house. I said that was fair, but He's now putting me in a position to lose everything if I have zero rights to the property. He said I didn't save up the money, so the house should be his and his alone unless I also put down 40%. I asked if he consider a prenup that would give him the 40% he put down, and we'd split 50-50 the rest of the equity. I said this would protect the lump sum he put down, which was his money, while also giving me equity I'd be paying for. He said he'd have to think about it, but he doesn't like the idea of having to sell if we split.
What? He's only thinking about you guys divorcing. Don't get married to a man that literally only thinks about you guys divorcing.
I said, then he can get his own place that he can afford on his own if he doesn't want me on the title that badly. This one he could barely afford with just his income. I'm not sure if he'd even be approved for the mortgage on his own, to be honest. I also mentioned that I wanted to do couples therapy before we got married, and he said no, that we didn't need therapy and I just needed to listen to him. He's been red-pilled.
Yeah,
he's been red-pilled.
We're done. This relationship can't work. It cannot work if he cannot compromise, cannot communicate, and refuses to get therapy.
He's literally rocking with like the biblical definition of like husbands and wives.
Yep.
So that was the end of that conversation. I don't know who this person is. This is not the man I had a child with. The man I had a child with massaged me every night while I was pregnant. He listened attentively to every random thing I wanted to talk about. He treated me with the utmost respect, and he was the only person I wanted with me while I gave birth. He used to say he could never hurt me or screw me over because it would hurt our child. I love him so much. I don't know what happened. Usually when people like foil their own plans that have been set for a long time, it's because they're trying to create a problem that the other person has to like make a decision about.
Yep.
There's a second update. Thank you to everyone who commented on my last post. You've shown me that I'm not alone in this and that other people have gone through the same. And folks, that's true about almost every situation in life. You're never alone.
No singular situation is unique.
I also feel vindicated in my decision to not pay half the mortgage if I'm not on the deed. Anyways, tonight he and I got to talking about the arrangement again. He said he didn't want to do the prenup I mentioned in my last update. So I told him my final offer was couples therapy and getting married before we buy a house. I told him we should get a rental temporarily until we figure everything out and come to an agreement. He outright refused again. He said he didn't want to waste money renting. He then said I'm not entitled to any of his money and he won't buy a house after we marry because I'll just win it in a divorce. Pre-divorce right now. Pre-divorce.
He's
Let
already
me
thinking
save
about
you the
it.
trouble, buddy.
He's already in pre-divorce mode.
I'm mostly just getting married for the divorce.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I win it, dude. 'Cause
I'm
a
gonna
winner.
win.
I said, fine, we won't get married. He asked if I was breaking up with him, and I said, I don't know, but I need
Sounds
space.
like he broke up with her a while ago.
He lost his marbles. He called me a witch and a gold digger and told me I owe him $30,000, which I don't know where he got that number from. He said I'm used up and no one will ever want me again. Oh, thank God you didn't marry this man.
Yep.
He went on a rant yelling at me for about 3 minutes until my grandma came over to us and told him to leave. He's staying the night at a hotel and has called me repeatedly. He's left a few angry voicemails. I just feel so numb. My baby is confused and keeps asking why I'm upset and where their dad went. I hate this entirely. To everyone who mentioned he might have gotten in with the manosphere or red pill content, you were right. I looked at who he subscribed to on YouTube and sure enough, I saw Joe Rogan, Fresh and Fit podcast, Just Pearly Things, and Aiden Ross. I just like interesting stuff, dude. I don't want to watch stuff people telling me how I need to think or how I need to act or how I need to be. I just like watching cool people talk about stuff.
I just don't understand how you can be in a relationship, seemingly successful, have a child, and then watch all of these red pill things that are like, if you want to be an alpha male and have a girl that loves you, and then believe them. Like you're in this beautiful, like the loving relationship.
Like you already crossed the finish line for
they're
all of this stuff.
Like all of those advice things are usually about trying to get a woman. You're already in a relationship with her.
Right.
Like I don't understand.
Yes. She clearly like looked up to you and respected you for the, the money that you brought home and for helping her and like was like excited to build her life alongside you.
Yeah. Like I understand in a messed up way why like men who have never been in a relationship or are like chronically single, why they get sucked into these patterns of thinking because they're angry and lonely and blame women for the problems and stuff. I understand why they get sucked into these rabbit holes, but like a person in a healthy relationship, I don't get how you would like succumb to that brainwashing so easily.
Probably because having a kid is hard.
Yeah. And he's like, well, my child doesn't respect me and my wife
wants me to take care of her child. Something like that. I don't know. It's safe to say he's fallen down the manosphere rabbit hole. I know the man I fell in love with is gone, and there's nothing I can do about it. By the way, you know what you can do is listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts. All you got to do is search OK Storytime, and you've got every episode we ever recorded in the palm of your hands, just waiting. Your ears are just, they're just begging to listen to him. So why don't you just do that? There were definitely signs I didn't notice. He was always saying he was saving his money and he was buying a house. He also said on more than one occasion he was the man of the house. He got really big on being a provider and protector. I didn't put it all together until now. His behavior change has been pretty recent, like the last 8 or 9 months, and that's it. My life's a crap show. Writing it out has been somewhat therapeutic. Thank you all again for your support, and that is the end of that story.
Leave him.
Let it be known, man.
My fiance will take my last name. It did not go well with his parents.
Ooh, so bad that he wanted to forget their name.
My fiance, male 21 Alex, and I, female 22, have been together for 6 years, getting married this year. Congratulations.
Congrats.
I never cared much about my last name, but after some recent family events, realized that I want to keep mine. Alex doesn't mind and chose to change his last name so we'd match.
Heck yeah.
By the way, this comes from Throw Away My Last Name. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Heck yeah.
Upon finding out, Alex's parents, Lisa and Luke, yelled at him.
Oy.
Lisa cussed him out, so my parents let him stay with us for the last week of winter break. We were home on break from college and live a few miles apart. Lisa and Luke say Alex is destroying and disowning his family, publicly humiliating them, and say that I'm stripping him of his manhood.
Wow, OP really is
Doing
pretty
a lot.
powerful.
They told us we're unbiblical and that women should submit. Oh, wow, this is crazy language here.
Ooh,
Crazy vocabulary.
Aye.
To them, it's political too. They said the queer community is the reason that we're susceptible to this. Transgender people are to blame, and America is in its downfall. This is just another sign.
Wow. Okay.
Alex has gotten plenty of texts from Lisa calling him hateful, cruel, and cold, asking how can he let her suffer. The meetings Alex had with his parents went poorly. They told him that they wanted to see him and not talk about the name, but then they did. One meeting involved both sets of parents, Lisa and Luke, talked 90% of the time before getting up and leaving. They're mad Alex stayed with us and said that even if we go with his name, they'd resent us and my family for supporting us. Oh my gosh. Lisa threatened to cut Alex off and says he won't get another penny. They had planned to contribute to our wedding, stating that there were no strings attached and they fund his college apartment. Lisa said that this is the worst thing to happen to her since losing her first baby. Oh my God.
Wow.
And that it's worse than if Alex had gotten me pregnant, unalived someone, wasted driving, or was attracted to the same gender. She's telling Alex that his grandparents will have to move to assisted living from heartbreak. And Luke keeps telling Alex that his choice is hurting people. Holy crap, man. Calm down.
Yeah.
Their main reasons seem to be that it is tradition and that they want the same last name carried on.
Well,
it's not an uncommon last name.
Certainly he doesn't want their last name.
Yeah.
I want to carry on that legacy.
I also learned that Lisa borderline tried to talk Alex out of proposing. Alex asked me to marry him anyway, and Lisa called my mom in the midst of the engagement excitement to share her disapproval. Great. They said that they get a say until Alex is married, and that's when they'll leave us be. Huh? What? Lisa and Luke keep texting Alex and my parents, but I have never gotten anything. They openly dislike me now, bad-mouthing me whenever I'm there or not. I've decided my relationship with Lisa and Luke is over. It was rocky before, as they tried to push their religion onto me numerous times. Alex is deciding how much more he can give. He hasn't taken a harsh tone or spoken rudely to his parents, but is tired. Now, his parents say if Alex won't move back home, their financial support ends. They say the family won't come to the wedding, and one of his siblings actually has left the wedding party. Obviously, I have decided to stay mostly away from Lisa and Luke now, but they are Alex's family. With the wedding still coming up, we're unsure how to move forward. Edit to add, Lisa and Luke's financial support is not necessary, and the wedding will proceed with or without it. Just thought it relevant to point out that the money that was offered, no strings attached, clearly does have strings. We know we are young and are still getting married after spending 6 years together. Postponing the wedding isn't something that we're willing to do. But we do have some comments. Commenter number 1 says, family, you're awful evil people and we're not coming. You, okay. OP responds to this, easier said than done, but this may need to be the route that we take. Commenter number 2 says, it sounds like he has really good reasons for not wanting to be associated with that last name any longer. Yes, it's not a traditional thing and people will look at him funny for it. They can just F right off. If you're happy and he's happy, that's all that matters. Commenter number 3 says, you shouldn't be getting married before you have achieved financial independence from your parents. This is just the first issue that will come from this. You're too young anyway. OP says, I appreciate the insight, but we don't need their financial support. Just thought it was worth mentioning that money offered without strings clearly does have strings. We have a solid plan in place financially, but came to this sub for the relationship aspect. Someone else responds, if you and your fiancé don't need their financial support, why have you guys been taking it? I'm sure this isn't the first time that they've shown they're not good people. So you both have agreed to benefit from their finances despite the kind of people that they are. OP responds, it hasn't been a trade of money for control up until now. If your parents wanted to give you money, would you not take it if it was truly out of kindness? Alex surely isn't the only college student being put through by his parents.
Yeah.
Now,
Silly comment.
yeah, that is. Now that it is money for control, we're planning not to accept it anymore. And guess what? We've got an update.
Let's freaking jump in.
Alex and I got married last month and everything was absolutely beautiful since my original post. After more months of emotional and verbal abuse, Alex made the difficult decision that his parents were no longer welcome at our wedding. He explained that he couldn't trust them to respect his boundaries, respect us at all, or respect what the event was about. As expected, they freaked out, asking if he was trapped and needed help, saying everything had become about me, OP, and telling him that he'd been isolated from everyone that he loves. We're not sure what story they told Alex's extended family. Alex reached out to everyone to explain what had been going on, but every response that he received was more disgust towards his name choice, refusal of wedding invitations, and saying that he needed to apologize and grovel and fix the family. Oh my gosh. Most of Lisa's family were the ones talking the most about how dishonorable he was and how he was breaking apart the family. Interesting, seeing none of them share Lisa and Luke's last name. Luke's family does. Luckily, only one invitation was returned with nasty notes inside, but the rest of the digital responses took Lisa and Luke's side, berating Alex for doing this near the anniversary of the passing of Lisa's first child, and called him cruel and hateful. Oh my gosh, this is so not the same at all. This is just so insane.
You might need to go very limited to no contact with these people.
Sorry about that.
Boy.
For context, Lisa's first child passed away a few days after birth, over 25 years ago. Alex says there has never been any remembrance that he knows of, and they do nothing on the anniversary. He doesn't even know the date of the anniversary. Lisa and Luke explained what happened once when he was young and never mentioned anything again. We're unsure why it's all coming back up now after presenting.
Because they're trying to guilt him.
Yeah, exactly. After presenting as generally unimportant his whole life. Apparently, this drama being 4 months from the anniversary was disrespectful. 4 months? A third of the year away from the anniversary?
Like, it was too soon. I'm sorry, what? 4 months is not soon.
Oh my gosh. His sister Alice also went off the rails. After checking in to see how Alex was doing, Alice got angry that he wanted to discuss things over text instead of on the phone. They're just grasping at straws. Things to be mad about.
Mad at anything.
Yeah. It became obvious that she wanted him on the phone to berate him because she ranted about how he was steamrolling their parents and wasn't really an adult because he wasn't married yet.
He's about to get married.
That?
He's about to get married. And also that's silly. That's silly.
That's silly.
To be clear, but it's also funny because like they're actively trying to stop him. Weird.
Yeah. I know, because the parents mentioned that earlier. Like, we can't tell him what to do. like unless he's, or we can tell him what to do until he gets married.
So strange.
These
so
are
strange.
crazy people. She said that she had encouraged Lisa and Luke to cut him off long ago, and that I, OP, wasn't acting like family since I stopped letting her follow my Instagram account. This was after she had dropped out as a bridesmaid and made it clear she didn't support our marriage. I decided not everyone gets full access to my life.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. As his only sibling, it was devastating for Alex to watch Alice spiral into fully taking their parents' side after initially leading him to believe that she had his back and being supportive. After saying not to expect her and Alex's brother-in-law at the wedding, there's been no further contact since Alice refuses to speak to him unless he'll talk on the phone. At this point, he won't do any phone calls as we'd rather have record of everything that goes down. Many people tried to talk to Lisa and Luke, my own parents, mutual friends, etc., to encourage them to choose the relationship and explain the damage that they were causing wasn't worth the loss that they'd endure. It seemed to have no effect. Alex was quick to become no longer financially dependent on his parents. We've changed his phone plan, reclaimed all of his bills from Lisa and Luke, fully moved him out, and finished college. We're not sure if they attended graduation. They texted Alex the day before to say that they'd be there, but then turned off their location services. Graduation day was stressful and nerve-wracking, with Alex not knowing if they'd make a scene or corner him. He left as soon as he walked across the stage and made it to his car with no interactions. Since then, as most Redditors suggested, we've been nearly no contact with Lisa and Luke. We spent the first 6 weeks of summer finishing wedding details, and our day last month was gorgeous. Alex received no communication between graduation and the wedding and has no plans to continue the relationship without an apology. Lisa and Luke did not show up to the wedding or say anything the day of. The only recent change is Lisa unfollowing and unfriending both of us and my family on all social media. And by the way, you can follow us on all social media. Just search OK Storytime, but you can especially do it on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
For me, my in-law relationships are basically over, apology or not. Learning they'd never supported our engagement, ignoring my existence, and hating me because of my political and religious beliefs is enough for me not to keep contact. Good. Thank you, Redditors, for your kind help and good wishes. Our day was truly perfect and straight out of a fairy tale. And we're looking forward to the next chapter of our lives with hopefully less drama. And that is that. I contacted my ex's fiance without his permission. He got furious.
I would too.
I, 30 female, was engaged to Anthony, 32 male, 4 years ago. Our relationship ended for a number of reasons, but we had been together since high school. We did not have the best ending, and there was a lot of hurt. I moved across the country when I moved out of our shared home. We cut contact following our split and have remained no contact ever since. We have mutual friends, so I still occasionally receive updates about his life, and I am sure that he receives the same. By the way, this comes from Dense Entrance 7881, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, 5 years ago, Anthony's mother, Liz, passed away after a long illness, and because we were engaged, Liz had given me a letter and a wrapped gift that she wanted me to give to Anthony on our wedding day. It was not specific to our wedding day, but since she knew that she would not be there, she decided that I should be the one to do it. She asked me to just keep it between us. She did not want her ex-husband or other kids to know. 8 months later, when we actually called off the wedding, I had forgotten about these items as I had stored them in my childhood bedroom for safekeeping, and in the midst of moving across the country, I left the items behind, which I am aware was careless. Fast forward to now, and I recently learned that Anthony is engaged to Beth, who is in her 30s. And my first thought was that I'm really happy for them and wish them all the best. I then was thinking about our canceled wedding and his mom. I really loved her like a second mom, and I was struck with the sinking feeling that I still had the letter and gift from her and that I had never returned it to the family. I then remembered Liz asking me not to share it with her other children or ex-husband, and while I was unsure of the exact reason, I think it's because she had done the same for her other children, but I am not sure who is holding on to their letters and gifts. I brought it up to my husband and explained how guilty I felt about still having these things, and I just didn't know what to do. Together, we talked through all the different options. I could have called him, but felt that it would ruin the surprise on the actual wedding day, which is what his mom wanted. I could have contacted a sibling, but then it felt like it would have ruined their surprise since they are not married yet. I thought about relatives, but I just didn't know who. So I settled on Beth. It just felt right that Liz wanted it to come from his soon-to-be wife. I reached out to her via social media DM and wrote her an extensive letter detailing what I stated above. I told her that she could do with this information what she wanted, but that I would be in my hometown next month and would love to get these items to her. Apparently, this was the wrong thing to do. Uh-oh. She told Anthony about this message, and he is pissed that I reached out to her. He says that I have no business contacting his fiance. I am torn now because I was honestly trying to honor his mother's wishes and return the items to their rightful owner.
I see now.
Yeah, I really felt like I was doing the right thing for everyone. And we do have some comments, but I want to hear your comments, Riley. Do you think that she's the a-hole or not for reaching out to this fiance?
I don't think so, because it's above her and her own intentions. She's honoring people that have, his mom that's passed. Other people may not see that or understand that. Maybe clear some stuff up. Maybe afterwards be like, hey, people are going to be mad, but just you help me out, be on my side here because I'm trying to honor his mother.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I really get that it might look weird. Like, oh, my fiance's ex-wife is texting me, telling me to like give him something that she was going to give on their wedding day, or I guess ex-fiance, but that never happened. So like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it really does seem like her intentions were pure, and then she really just didn't know what to do.
She's just passing along a message. She's giving a gift back. She's not manipulating it or trying to get in her advantage at all.
Absolutely. And it wasn't even from her in the first place. It was from the mom. So it's not like she was trying to give him a present,
Yeah.
She was just like, oh, shoot. Forgot to deliver that. But the verdict from the comments is not the a-hole. Some questions from the comments. Was it a bad breakup? OP responds, it was not great. I had gotten a job in another city. We both agreed that I should take it, and then he decided at the last minute that he didn't want us to go. I ultimately decided to go anyway, and he thought I would stay. He was very angry that I did not stay. His version of events is usually that I left him right after his mother passed away. OP is responding now to a downvoted commenter who is saying, bringing up his passed away mom and talking behind his back to his fiance are pretty terrible things to do when you could have sent those items to him. OP says, I guess I figured I could give her the choice to share these things with him on their wedding day instead of robbing him of that moment. I still felt like it was her choice how to go about it since it was intended to be given by the bride at the wedding. This was his mother's intention. The commenter says, because if it were really important to you to deliver them because you want to honor his mom, you would have not forgotten about it until it was convenient to you. OP responds, we called off our wedding and I moved 3 days later. I've only been home to my home state one time since that day, and it was for my brother's wedding, so I did not go back to my parents' home where my old bedroom has boxes of things from my canceled wedding, including my wedding dress.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I honestly, I'd probably forget about it. I'm not gonna lie. Because if you're like, this isn't even your present, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just passing it on, and then the wedding doesn't even happen. That's gonna be on your mind like crazy, and moving away,
trying
like
to separate yourself from the breakup and moving away.
Exactly. That would slip my mind. Not gonna lie. I'm very forgetful in general. So if all this stuff is happening, I'm not remembering that present.
You're not forgetful.
Me? What?
You have left our son with me for like 3 weeks straight, though.
That was on purpose.
Aw. Thank you. I love
You're
Guava. We have a son named Guava, and he's a capybara that we got from K-Town.
He's a little pink capybara with a green apple on his head.
Yep, he's the best.
He's the best son we could ever ask for.
Doesn't require a lot.
Don't
good for us
clip
for now.
that. Don't clip that and send that to our future children.
Yeah, don't.
That might end up poorly. But anyway, I met my husband a few weeks after I moved, and we got married during the pandemic, so I have not had a ton of time to think about my ex. It was his engagement that made me think about Liz, and then about the gift, and the realization that it was tucked in one of those boxes that I left years ago. So why not just mail the package? I honestly would not have known where to mail it. I do not know where they live, and I did not want to ask any mutual friends because I honestly wanted to keep them out of it. I wanted it to be Beth's decision. Why not tell the ex's fiance herself or give it to his family? I know I could have reached out to him or his siblings, but not without spoiling his mom's plans. She wanted him to have it on his wedding day from his wife. I was trying to honor her wishes. I thought about all the possible scenarios and chose the one that I thought most reflected what his mom would have wanted and also gave everyone a choice. If I told him, it ruins that moment between them. If I told a sibling, it steals their future moment. If I told his dad, I risked him not knowing about any of this and not following through. I thought about his mom's sister, but I'm not sure what the status of that relationship is. The only person that I could think of that was in a position to not cause all that collateral damage is the person who is in my former position when the gift and letter were handed over.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I think she really
She
had
thought
good
this
intentions.
out. This is the only way, really.
Yeah. Like, I feel like maybe she could have risked spoiling something with her siblings or something like that.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, you really didn't mean anything bad by it. I think she should be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
OP clarifies that the letter wasn't written for her, but for her ex-fiance. No, she wrote her son a letter when he was a little boy, and he was to open it on his wedding day. Oh, wow. So she wrote it when he was a kid? Oh, that's
cute.
That's really special then. Oh my gosh. She planned to give it to him herself, but she knew that she was not going to make it, so she gave it to me to share with him with instructions to give it to him at our planned first look. I was not in the position to question a passing away woman. I also thought that I would be marrying her son, so it seemed like a simple talk. I never thought I would be in a position of having to pass it on to someone else to give to him, but here I am. OP's comments on the move and when the ex told her that he wouldn't go. So we were planning the move together before she got sick, since we both originally wanted to get out of our hometown and move to my current city. We put those plans on hold when his mom got sick, and I waited until he was ready to restart our plans before pursuing a job in said city. It was 8 months between his mother's passing and the move. It was 4 months after that he told me that he was ready to start the process. He also had a job lined up, but worked for his family business in our hometown, so he could give up the new job without an issue, whereas I had already quit my job. I get that I'm the one that moved, but he is really the one that ended the relationship by changing everything 3 days before we were set to move. I am not saying that he is to blame, but your interpretation of what happened is far from reality. And he told me 4 days before we were set to move that he wasn't going. I was going because I was starting a new job a week later, and we had given up our apartment and I signed a lease in my new city. We went to bed that night and I asked him if he would ever join me the next day, and he said probably not.
Ooh.
So I told him that I think the relationship is over and we need to call off the upcoming wedding, which was 3 months away. He was very upset and he left to stay at his dad's house. The movers arrived the next day and they took my stuff, and I stayed at the hotel near the airport that night for my early flight. I boarded the plane and I have not been back except to attend my brother's wedding, which was not in my hometown, so I did not return to my parents' home. And we do have an update.
Dude.
But ouch, that would suck.
That's so tough on both of them. Mom passes. He doesn't feel ready to make that step because he needs to be there for his family. Seems like a pretty big family guy.
Yeah.
Then he's like, well, we already signed the lease.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
I don't blame her at all for still going, because yeah, she already signed the lease. She quit her current job. So that's just so tough though.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Breaking up 3 months before your wedding? Oh, ouch, man. Ouch. But we do have an update. So, in case anyone is interested in an update to this story. So, I heard from Anthony again over the weekend, but this time it was a phone call, which I was very surprised about. We have not spoken a word to each other since the day that we broke up. Well, he was at a get-together with friends on Saturday, and he was still pretty angry about my reaching out to Beth. He was telling some of the partygoers about the interaction and that I should have never reached out to her. And the following is what he told me about their reaction to the conversation. I guess the people that he was talking to, who are not friends that I've kept in touch with, thought that he was overreacting. Okay, good.
He's a bit hurt from this.
They told him that it sounded like I was trying to fix a mistake that I made and did not mean any harm. So then his best friend, Mike, asked him why he was really angry.
Uh-oh. Wow.
And I want to ask you to go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime, because you're going to find more full episodes of stories just like this one. Do you have a theory? There's a little bit more to the story, but...
He is still in love with her.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That'd be crazy. I want to know how much... Do we know how much time has passed? I don't think...
3 years?
That's what I want to guess. But are we just guessing that?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
I just wonder, like, you know, if like a significant amount of time has passed since they called off their engagement and then he got engaged with this new girl.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that does change things. Maybe he didn't have time to get over her or something.
Yeah,
Who knows? But let's find out.
that makes sense.
Anthony said that this got him thinking about his reasoning, and he realized that he wasn't actually mad about my contact with Beth, but the fact that 4 years ago, there's our answer, I actually moved and cut contact. He said that when he decided not to move, he was sure that I would change my mind, and that when I left, it was a total shock to his system, and he was really angry with me. I acknowledged that the way that I left was terrible, but also implored him to take responsibility that he completely blindsided me and left me with very few options. He apologized for this and for his anger, and I apologized for leaving and cutting contact. I let him know the dates that I will be in town, and I will happily send the items to them if he gives me his address. Instead, he asked if he could come pick them up, which I said was fine. Overall, it was a good conversation that I am glad we had. I doubt that we will ever be friends, but I am glad that we seem to be at peace with each other. And that is the end of that story.
My fiance's best friend crossed the line. Now I don't want her at my wedding.
I mean, when you cross that line, you get kicked out.
Hey everyone, I, female 30, am marrying my fiance, Jake, male 32, and the wedding date is in less than a month. I tried my best to remain stress-free, but I'm struggling with a situation that's been weighing heavily on me, so I could really use some advice. By the way, this comes from a Sleep Snow 6854, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Jake has a childhood best friend, Mary, female 30. They have been best friends since they were 16, and he had a crush on her as a teenager. Normal stuff. She was the only girl in a male group of friends, and everybody had a crush on her. When I first met her, I genuinely liked her. I thought she was pretty and friendly, and she seemed happy that Jake had found me. She even told me multiple times how relieved she was that I wasn't like his crazy jealous. Who was so jealous of her and tried to ruin her relationship with Jake. And Jake's version seemed to tell the same story. At first, I didn't question it, but over time, little things started to add up. Whenever I spent time with Mary, I left with a bittersweet feeling. She would casually slip comments about things she and Jake did together. Dates, inside jokes, even some minor high school spicy related experiences, phrased as if she was just reminiscing. She always tells me these things in a cool girl way, saying she just feels so comfortable talking to me about them. I know I should have done something, but I'm naturally quite a shy person and I second guess everything. I felt like all these things were inappropriate for a best friend to share with her best friend's girlfriend, but I wanted to think she was just silly and not meaning any harm. Then there were the moments that felt deliberate. At group gatherings, she would subtly isolate me, stepping between me and others or changing the subject if I was speaking. She would interrupt conversations to take the spotlight, and once she even called Jake into a room and opened the door in just a top and underwear. Another time, she tried to change clothes in front of him, and when he immediately left the room, she laughed it off, saying it wasn't a big deal. I was there in the same room. She clearly did it on purpose. At first, it was hard for Jake to see what I was seeing. To his credit, he never dismissed me, but he tried to justify her behavior. That's just how she is, or she doesn't mean anything by it. But in the past year, things have escalated.
Escalated more? Escalated beyond her taking off her clothes in front of your boyfriend?
At 2 separate weddings, she caused major drama, spreading cruel gossip about the brides and other couples. Some of it was so mean that I got very upset and left the main room to get some air. Jake came along, and when I told him, he completely lost it. I begged him not to make a scene and not to confront her. He wanted to disinvite her from our wedding. I finally convinced him not to do anything because I didn't want to be the reason their friend group fell apart. But now she has crossed yet another line. She recently announced that she will be wearing a long, satin, very whitish dress to our wedding.
She wants to be the bride.
Disinvite her.
She's like, I mean, if she got into a car accident, if Opie got in the car accident, and someone needs to replace, like maybe it would be the person wearing white.
I would step up.
That's just the kind of friend I am.
She has seen my wedding dress, and what she picked is very similar, both being long, tight, and quite ivory. And because she's the best man, she will be standing right next to Jake at the altar.
She's the best man.
I'm sorry. If you're about to disinvite someone from your wedding, maybe they shouldn't be your best man.
Yeah, drop.
When I politely pointed it out, she became extremely offended and defensive. I have no doubt she's now talking bad about me to their friends, painting me as the jealous fiancé, just like she did with Jake's ex. She even made a sarcastic remark, I'm sorry if you think I could steal your attention.
I mean, okay, that is an evil sentence, but damn, is that a good one?
Yeah, she's
really, that is the most manipulative.
Really getting ya.
It's like on par with like, I love how you can just wear everything or anything.
Yeah.
I love how you just like don't care about how you look. Like
Jake,
you're so brave for that.
Jake is furious. He says that if she pulls anything, he will personally punt her out.
If you are thinking about punting out your best man, they are not your best man.
They're not your best man.
They shouldn't even be your guest. They should be your worst man. They should be your blackmailed man. Blacklisted, blackmailed, put in the cabinet, never to be seen again.
He resents me a bit, I think. He said I should have just let him uninvite her. I love that he has my back, but again, I don't want any drama. Their families are very close. Her whole extended family is invited to the wedding, and the group of friends would be forced to take a side. Even if she finally decides to wear another dress, my fear is that she won't just take attention. She might actually try to ruin my dress or create some kind of scene. We've already told her there will be no speeches because she has a history of making everything about how Jake was in love with her but finally moved on. I can't believe that this is even something I have to worry about on my wedding day. I invited only the people I love most to this wedding. The energy has been nothing but love, no drama, just excitement and joy until now. And I feel completely stuck. Uninviting her isn't an option because it would create massive drama on Jake's side, and I know I would be blamed as the crazy girlfriend who tried to ruin the friendship. But at this point, after knowing everything I do now, I don't even believe his ex was crazy at all. I think she just saw the same things I'm seeing now. I don't know what to do. It's spoiling everything for me. And there is an update. What say you?
I mean, let him uninvite her from the wedding, but
Please.
Is it not a red flag that he's like, babe, if you want me to uninvite her, I'll do it. And he's not taking the initiative to uninvite her with everything that's going on. It's like, I think OP is saying, I want him to make the decision.
Sure.
Because I want him to choose me over this woman. And he's like, I want her to come if my wife doesn't say anything.
Exactly. I
Because
agree.
I want my second wife there right next to me.
Yeah.
A backup wife.
Yeah. But like, yeah. No, I think that's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you don't want drama, kick her out.
Yeah, but also red flag that
He's not doing
he's
it.
not doing
I
anything.
agree.
Like, I feel like this is. I think we're on very unstable ground with this marriage already.
Yup.
I'm not feeling good about it. I'm not feeling good.
But there is an update. First of all, thank you to everyone who took the time to respond. Sometimes opening it with strangers helps more than talking with friends. All my friends are just mad and ready to spill wine on her. I wanted to clarify a few things and share an update after a long conversation with Jake tonight. We are not in the US. Jake and I are originally from a Nordic European country, but now live abroad. I mention this because cultural differences play a role here. Where we're from, it's not common to dictate what the bridal party wears. We wanted everyone to feel comfortable and choose their own outfits. We told all our guests that. But of course, we never expected someone to push the boundaries so far. For those questioning the timeline, we've had a long engagement. Almost 2 years ago, when we first got engaged, Jake and Mary were still close. So it made sense for her to be the best man. All the formalities have been completed. She signed the paper, her documents have been sent to the town hall, expensive gifts have been shared, etc. But over the past year, everything has changed. He has distanced himself. He never reaches out to her first anymore. He only replies when she contacts him. Since we don't live in the same country, we don't see her often, only at big gatherings like Christmas or weddings. So in our day-to-day lives, she's not present. For the people saying your spouse should be your best friend, of course Jake is my best friend. That's not even up for discussion. But having close friendships outside our relationship doesn't mean we aren't each other's closest person. This situation isn't about whether a man and a woman can be best friends. It's about boundaries. Absolutely.
Well, it does feel like at least Jake is putting up some boundaries.
Some, yes, sure.
But I feel
Not
like
enough.
not enough, especially for the level that
just-
this
yeah.
person's going to.
I just really don't understand why why he can say that I'm willing to get rid of her from the wedding entirely, but not change his best man.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have
You
any
gotta
friends.
have other men, but like you gotta have other best men.
Maybe he doesn't.
You
Maybe he's only
gotta.
got her.
No.
For those wondering if Jake still has feelings for her, if I had even the slightest doubt about that, I wouldn't be marrying him. But I don't. This isn't about him, it's about her. She constantly brings up the fact that he once had a crush on her when they were teenagers when he's not around. She knows he wouldn't take that lightly. It honestly feels like she clings to that detail as a way to boost her own ego. For my friends, she's just sad. I just know that if she gets uninvited or demoted to guest, she will make sure that the entire wedding is about her. If you think I'm exaggerating, at the last Christmas gathering, she was being very clingy towards Jake, acting overly familiar, nothing extremely inappropriate though. He got irritated and started avoiding her. And what did she do? She sat there the whole night throwing daggers at him with her eyes and making sure people noticed. People did notice and talked. And that's the thing. She thrives on making drama but never grows incredibly overboard. Why uninviting her isn't simple. In our culture, this would cause a big scandal. At least 8 people, some of whom are very important to Jake, would refuse to come if we uninvited her. And even if we could accept that, it would still turn the wedding into a circus of gossip about her absence. I'm sure she'll gossip her
But
fair
she'll
share.
become more. It'll like, what kind of gossip do you want? Do you want gossip or do you want full blown wedding pandemonium, which she will definitely bring in?
Yup. This isn't just about the wedding day, it's about the fallout afterward. The reality is, Jake comes from a small town where people love to talk, and she's very good at making herself the victim. I'm not a bridezilla by any means, but I'd rather people enjoy my wedding and think about us than wonder why Mary is not there and speculate, especially because she will make sure people think she's not there because I am jealous of her. I wouldn't be able to enjoy my day. I'm in the wrong, maybe, and I accept it, but I'm not a confrontational person, and a fight before the wedding will ruin it for me. But you know what will ruin everything for me?
What?
You guys not listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search a book of story time. Don't ruin it for me.
Don't ruin it for her.
There is a little bit left to this story.
I think uninvite her. She's crossed so many boundaries already. Demoting her to a guest is not going to do it. If you lose those 8 people, at least you'll have a wedding that you'll actually feel is drama free and like a little gossip, like that's fine, but it's not. It's at least it's not a wild card.
The thing is that I don't know. This person should not remain in your life.
Yeah.
Like if you have the wedding and she's got to be in it, then you're gonna have to get rid of her after.
Yeah.
I just don't think she's a good friend to have around.
No, not at all.
But there is an update.
Let's hear the update.
Jake and I had a long conversation tonight. He's going to reach out to her directly about the dress. I asked him to wait for her reaction before making any decisions. He agreed to hold off until we see how she handles it. That said, one thing is already decided. After the wedding, he's going no contact, which is what I was saying. So good. He won't engage with her beyond group gatherings, and even then, he'll keep interactions as minimal as possible. This has been building for a long time, and after everything she's done, he's ready to be done with it. And that is the end of that story.
Wow.
Wowie.
I am glad that they are distancing themselves from her. I am a little bit like suspicious of, maybe not suspicious is the wrong word, but I am like, I feel like the husband should have put down more boundaries without the wife having to do all of it. You know, like I feel like he should have been the one to uninvite her from the wedding, be like, babe, what should you? I think
stop being so wishy-washy, guys. Just someone make a decision.
Yeah,
you guys are both like freaking.
They're both people pleasing,
incapable of making decisions. You're like, well, whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want. Whatever you want.
I don't know.
Now you're just gonna do what's in the best interest of no one.
I'm fine with any option.
But that is where that story ends.
Indeed.
My fiance threatened to cancel our wedding if her parents can't live with us.
That feels like a romantic relationship that is not built on sturdy ground.
It's a quadruple. It's just with also their parents.
Yeah. The old wise people give you advice.
Yeah, just a little wisdom. Fiancé, 27, female, threatens to call off wedding if I, male 26, don't let her parents, male 57 and female 50, move in with us after the wedding. Obviously, this comes off as a rich people problem, but up until 5 months ago, I was still living in a 1-bedroom apartment working at a rather large supermarket retail store making $12 an hour and going to be paying off college debt until I was in my 60s. Buddy, that did not sound like a rich people problem.
I'm hoping, I feel like he's just being sarcastic.
My fiance is still working her nursing job and we've been fully living together for 4 years. By the way, this comes from user throwaway9090897. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Some background into our relationship. We met 6 years ago. There were literally zero issues with us dating. When it came to some sort of conflict, we sat down, explained both of our sides like adults, and generally fixed the problem. We've rarely gotten into arguments and have the same end goals in life. Have children, grow old together, die, be buried next to each other, and have fun whenever we can. I've always had an incredibly distant relationship with her parents. When she introduced me to them, they both stated they didn't like me to my face and thought I wasn't good enough. Her father even said, "Not in my lifetime," when I asked for his permission to marry his daughter, which I stated the only reason I was doing it was as an olive branch. My parents, on the other hand, love my fiancé. They scooped her up like she was one of us from the start. They have never said anything bad about her in public nor in private. She, at least in my parents' eyes, is the metaphorical second coming of Christ. During my grandfather's decline in health, I was the first one there. He just got old, and with being old comes complications. I stopped working my higher paying job to work retail to have more time to take care of him because his other children were busy. This was a very stressful time in our relationship, and I had just recently left my job and was not around often, and I myself was super stressed. Recently, I've begun the slow move of everything over there. While we still have to live in our apartment until the lease agreement is up, there's nothing against the rules of me moving stuff out. I brought it up to my girlfriend how taking care of my grandfather has really made me realize how important my family is, and that I wanted to know if it was okay for my parents to move into the new house with us. My dad could retire and my mom can spend the rest of her life relaxing, not stressing over bills or debt, because I can pay that off over time. I'm not insane enough to pay it off all in one go. She expressed how that was an amazing idea and how she'd like her parents to move in as well. I laughed at that idea and asked her if she was serious and why would I want to live in a house with people I don't like nor want to interact with. She explained that this could be a good chance for us to heal old wounds and make amends. I explained that not only do I not want to heal old wounds, but if it was up to me, they wouldn't be coming to the wedding. Obviously, this was the wrong thing to say, and now she's giving the ultimatum of let them move in or the wedding is off. While I can understand her side, I seriously do not want to interact with them in any capacity. They've tried numerous times to get her back with exes, lied about me, and even spread a rumor about me being unfaithful until I pulled up real evidence of me being nowhere near where they said I was thanks to Google location. My fiancé knows all of this and still wants to try to rebuild a relationship with them. This past week, I've been avoiding her with excuses and white lies. I've been meeting with accountants, lawyers, wedding venue people, and jewelers. I've also been spending all-nighters at my grandfather's grave, drinking with him, and not getting back home until 4 a.m. To me, it feels like my grandfather is still the only person I can vent my deepest secrets and frustrations to. So, Reddit, this is why I have come to you. I feel trapped. On one hand, I do not want to live with people I absolutely hate. On the other hand, I do not want to lose the woman of my dreams. I want a third party's opinion on the matter with no connection to me whatsoever, as I feel it's the best way to make a good judgment without people close to me influencing my choices. I'm more than willing to answer questions and know how this subreddit works because I, too, am a pizza-eating, pimple-popping Redditor myself. I'll accept that. Yeah, I'll accept that. Amazing Cabinet 1404 says, I really didn't understand the "she clearly isn't with me for my money" in the opening paragraph because, yes, OP, she is with you for your money. There are a lot of subtle ways to be with someone for their money without making an outright demand for it. She could be planning to quit her job, pay zero expenses, and keep her funds to the side, have herself and her parents live in your house rent-free. There are many problems. The ultimatum is a huge one, but further than that is you might not have recourse to make her parents leave once they've established residency in your home. There's a lot there. I'm just going to go to OP's reply. OP says, first of all, thank you for your reply. Much like the 99% of others' comments, it really gave me a sense of direction. I'd like to address a few things as to my thought process after reading your comment because I did think about the what ifs, at least for my parents, which would apply to hers if they moved in. Newsflash, I'll pass away before I let them, her parents, move in. My parents would keep the proceeds from selling their house as I have no need for it. Utilities are not an issue. I own the water rights to a natural aquifer spring thingy underground. As for the power, a lot of it is solar energy, which can keep the house going nonstop as long as it's charged. My grandfather was one of those doomsday Doomsday. The government is out to get you, crazy old men. I knew about the hunting cabin. I just didn't think it was this big or advanced. So I'll literally never need to pay anything on the property other than tax. I plan to have my parents enter a renting contract, and they'd be able to rent out their area and live on the property, use its land or whatever for $1 a month. Just in case they piss me off, I can evict them. As for insurance, my dad served 23 years in the military, and my mom, being his wife, gets that insurance as well. Unless they run out of money, they'll be paying their own insurance. While technically speaking, I'd be buying their groceries, my father and I love to hunt and fish, so a lot of our food will be produced on our own. Mom has always wanted a garden, and she can't grow one in the city. Also, no, they wouldn't go on trips with us. As for the hypothetical, if her parents moved in, I wouldn't be paying for anything, and they'd be paying me the real price to live on my property and extra because I don't like them.
$10,000 a month.
You might think California rent is high. The auditor I hired to see the value of the estate valued rent for a room at an extortion level of money. Thank God Grandpa bought this land when milk cost your left shoelace and a blueberry. My parents got money, and it was nowhere near what I got, but they got a fair share. Oh, maybe that's where the money came from. There's an inheritance. Grandpa passed and
That's
now
why
he's got all this
rich.
grandpa money.
Okay, I see.
So they didn't abandon my grandfather, my parents. In fact, they visited as often as they could, given my dad's work schedule and the distance. It was never viable to visit more than once or twice a year. The only reason I was so close was because I went to college in the same state where he lived and stayed because of my fiance. I've already been working closely with accountants and lawyers who've all projected me moving in my parents and living with them for the next 30 to 40 years of my life. Will not dent my money in any significant way. I've already invested money and put money into accounts to generate interest. I won't be losing money unless I buy mega yachts, jets, helicopters, and supercars. And I hate supercars. I'm happy driving my crappy 12-year-old pickup truck because it works. I don't expect her parents to respect me, my money, or my home. I've thought in great detail how my parents would be independent of my finances, and my parents have never done me wrong, never given up on me, and encouraged me my entire life. The least I can do is make the rest of their lives something they never dreamed would come true. My dad would have had to work until he passed away to provide for my mom and take care of the debt they had acquired, to live and / take care of me. I wanted them to be happy, and I want them to be close. This will be my only update post available for this subreddit. In the 48 hours since I've posted, that thing took off like a rocket ship. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for their opinions. While a majority of you told me to leave, others offered compromises, logical alternatives, and gave me questions I didn't even think to ask myself. I'll put a TLDR at the bottom, but I probably won't need it. I think this has been the longest 48 hours of my life. Reading through comments, responding to them, having meetings IRL, and talking with my fiance have really given me clarity on what my next choices in life are going to be. One, I've postponed the wedding.
Oh.
I did not expect that.
Wow. I thought they were going to work it out.
Maybe it's just the thing is, and we didn't really talk about this at all, but if you are throwing an ultimatum on the wedding, this actually happened to a friend of mine. It's like, well, if you're doing that in the first place, I don't even think we're ready to get married.
Yeah.
Because you're like hanging, you're making like this one thing. Well, do this or we won't get married. It's like, you can't do that.
Yeah, I feel like that's boxing you in, restricting the freedom. Like, it's,
right.
Again, not what a good marriage should be based on. You're starting off on a bad foot.
While some of you may refer to it as calling her bluff, I call it waiting and seeing. As of right now, we're really talking about how compatible we truly are, going over our goals in life again, and talking in depth about the relationship we want with our in-laws if we got married. Apparently, a lot had changed since the last time we talked about it. Before I got money, some of you called it. 2, yes, she genuinely thought moving her parents in would make my relationship with them better over time. I've expressed that as a result of all they've said and done to me, any positive relationship or communication with them will only be done out of necessity. For example, if she was pregnant, in the hospital, or during any life-altering complication or celebration. She did not take this well, but that was expected. It's important I tell my truth. She believes I'll come around and try to build a relationship with her parents, but as of right now, I can't see myself doing it. Number 3, my parents won't be moving in, as I haven't even asked them yet. I know some of you were confused and assumed it was already happening. It was not. I asked if it was okay if they could, not telling her it was happening. Some of you suggested that maybe moving them in as newlyweds was weird and suggested building them a small house on the property. I didn't think about that, and we'll talk to my accountant and parents about it whenever the conversation needs to be had. Nice idea, Reddit strangers. What have I been doing? A lot of meetings about my future, my finances, and setting up trusts and wills. I'll be re-enrolled enrolling into school to take classes on business, finances, accounting, and economics, as my accountant suggested I do. We're still working on a budget, but as of right now, my next steps are furthering my education to manage my newfound wealth and opportunity in a healthy way so as not to blow it. As of right now, to be honest, I'm emotionally drained. I think the weight of my grandfather's passing is finally hitting me despite it being months later. The only thing that kept me going was the idea of the wedding day. And now that it's postponed, I can really only focus on myself, my values, and my emotions. Staying up all night and drinking at a gravesite isn't healthy. Well, it's good that you know that, OP.
It still
That's
sounds
the
like a
first
good
thing
time.
you need to know. I've not only promised myself to cut back on the booze, but also not to stay up drinking. I've been thinking about maybe getting into some sort of therapy or grief counseling.
Smart.
Yes.
Win.
Big thumbs up for that, but I need to make sure that it's in the budget with my accountant, as that's a long-term thing. Maybe they know someone. Couples counseling. To those that suggested it, that's a wonderful idea. However, I'm not sure if I can move past her strange, dependent relationship with her parents. Initially, I thought I could, but with the rose-tinted goggles off, I'm starting to see a lot of red flags, and I'm not too confident a therapist or wedding could solve it. We both have issues we need to work through, but right now I'm not sure if we'll be working through them together. I know a lot of you said to drop the relationship, but I think after 6 years, it's worth giving it a try to save it. Making a choice like that without trying to fix the problem seems silly, but I did expect a lot of those answers to come through. It's just how Reddit is. See, they know. Just know that I know my worth, I know my values, and I'm not backing down. Maybe we won't work things out and the relationship will just end. Maybe things will work out and we can continue. At least for now, 48 hours later, it's too soon to tell. 6, as for the prenup, we haven't signed anything yet. A lot of you were really harping on the nice ring and fancy vacations once a year thing. While the vacation compromise is indeed concerning, the ring issue is something we've been having conflict on for a while. My personal opinion before and now is that rings are overpriced, silly, and serve no significant purpose in a relationship. She says that they're an important symbol of love and commitment. The compromise to the prenup in regards to the ring was I actually buy her a better ring than I already had, which sounds super predatory in those words, but it makes sense in my mind. She doesn't want a Titanic heart of the ocean style jewelry piece, just something a bit more noticeable. I probably should have elaborated on that in my original post, but hey, everybody makes mistakes. To some, it sounds like gold digger mentality, but I know the price range of the ring she wants, and it's about the same range my dad spent on my mom's ring. It's something you'd see on a middle-class woman's finger. Nothing huge, nothing small, just enough, I guess. Why are we making all these judgments like that?
Also, maybe I just because I'm a romantic, but I just don't like how non-romantic this is.
Yeah,
I want there to be I want it to be a little romantic.
What's the
Come
movie
on.
where they had the plastic rings that they got out of like the vending machine?
I'm not sure, but it sounds cute.
All you need is a sentiment. It's all in the sentiment.
This is too much business.
Yeah, I still think they're just silly circles of metal and compressed dirt. There's not much to say. We sat down and talked for a while. I explained my side of things. She explained hers. She was upset I was postponing the wedding, but once she realized I wasn't going to fold, so she agreed under the notion that it was best for our relationship to work on this before marriage. Right now, I'm taking a step back from her to clear the air and give us time to formulate what we want on our own. I've driven the 2 hours to the cabin. Thankfully, the internet people hooked that up yesterday. I've talked to my parents, not about them moving in, but about the situation as a whole, leaving out that I went to the internet before I went to them. While my dad can't just abandon his job, he sends his love and support. My mom is currently making the 18-hour drive, so I wouldn't be alone by myself. I've gotten attempted phone calls from the in-laws within the last 24 hours, but I've watched them ring and went back to doing my everyday tasks like lawn work, meal prep, reading, and binge watching Netflix.
I like that he's a simple guy that likes simple things,
Simple things.
Yeah.
And you know what you can do? It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You can go binge listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and wherever you listen to podcasts. What do they have to search?
Okay, Storytime,
And
wherever podcasts are.
And it's that easy. It's strange, but right now I feel happier alone than I do with my fiance. Oh, buddy, you shouldn't marry this woman then.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's some sign that it's not meant to be. Maybe I've finally just been able to relax for the first time in years and have found comfort in solitude. Maybe I'm happy my mom is going to cook me my favorite dinner as a child to cheer me up. I think as of right now, though, I have a lot of work to do, not only emotionally, but also literally. I'm thinking about doing some telework just to have a mainstream of income part-time as I'll probably get bored of being jobless in about a week. I need some hobbies. It's like, I'm already going to get bored of being incredibly rich.
Yeah.
I got to do something else.
I feel like maybe grow your imagination. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of things that you could do.
Brother, you don't have hobbies yet? I don't know if you're ready for marriage. You still got to get hobbies.
You got to develop yourself.
Yeah, dude.
But that's where that story ends. Would love to know what you guys think. So put your answers in the comments, in the chat. Do you think pumping the brakes on this relationship was a good idea? Let us know. We're getting married, but she wants her ex-fiance at the wedding.
Awkward?
So here we go. I want to start off with saying that I'm not sure if I've loved anyone quite this much before, and I have been married before. That's big, but never felt this type of compatibility, connection before until all that came crashing down a couple of weeks ago. By the way, this comes from his crappy Zohan. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my partner's friends with almost all of their exes.
The story sounds suspiciously familiar.
All right, I'm not friends with all my exes. I'm friendly with all of my exes. And I'm totally okay with it because I'm not a crazy, jealous psycho. And they have all been nothing but very nice and respectful to me, super friendly, and they all have their own partners and lives figured out apart from my partner's ex-fiance. They were together for almost 10 years, but never got married due to some family drama from the ex-fiance side. My partner has gone on to say and reiterate a couple of times that they were so in love, so into each other, and would have still been together if it wasn't for this particular family drama. They also broke up almost 3 years before we got together. However, they were still sleeping together that whole time, up until a month before my partner met me. This already rang alarm bells when I heard it, but I shrugged it off because I thought it was my past experiences and traumas talking through me and not common sense. I try to be very mindful of giving people their own space and letting them be themselves fully, speak how they want, and be authentic. However, I would still be with my ex if not for this one thing. It's not pleasant to hear. But I figured they had a super strong loving bond, and okay, I moved on. I never made any problems out of them being friends. I even tried a few times to reach out to this ex myself to become friendly. I sent them a couple of memes and tried to strike up a small talk a few times on my own initiative, but they've always been super weird with me, making strange, flirty comments to my partner when they're speaking on the phone, for example, or being condescending about me and my family. I don't want to go too much into detail about what they said to not make myself identifiable, but I gave them grace and 3 chances to become friends. They blew them all by, completely disrespecting me and my relationship. This ex even implied that they talk with my partner secretly when I'm at work, probably to get a reaction out of me to see if I'll bite. I block them everywhere. My partner knows this, but I'm okay with them still being friends. If that's what my partner wants, I'm cool with it, as long as I don't have to be forced to be friends with this ex because I have no reason to want to do that after how they treated me. No, my partner said they understand and we're cool with that. They just don't want to choose my friends for me, just like they wouldn't want me choosing theirs. Fair. Anytime they speak on the phone, they run to the other side of the garden, start wandering aimlessly to get away from me. It seems avoidance, like they don't want me to hear them talking. And I was okay with that too. Everyone has a right to private conversations. I get it. Okay, maybe I stopped being super enthusiastic about this person and stopped asking, how is so-and-so after they spoke on the phone or whatever, stopped wanting to become acquainted. However, still remain completely civil. I think it's okay to not be a little civil. I feel it's okay to be like, hey, I don't think this person is good for the future of our relationship to have in your life.
Yeah, 100%.
I said hi when I had to and was polite as required. All was great until a final blow came. My partner asked me if they could invite their ex-fiancé to our wedding.
And could they be on the spot where they're saying I do to me? This is what it's giving.
This is ridiculous. I was shocked and couldn't answer. I said I would think about it, but I'm honestly so effing hurt that they would even ask me that, knowing I have their ex blocked and knowing how they disrespected me and made me feel like an outsider in our relationship. I'm absolutely gutted. What makes it even worse is the way they phrased it. I would love to invite ex to our wedding. They're my friend, and I have a sentiment towards them. I will completely understand if you don't want them there, and I'll absolutely respect the decision, but I would like them to come. At first, I was sad, then enraged. If you completely understand and respect that I don't want them there, then you've just answered your own question, have you not? I feel like a deer in the headlights. This has completely unalived my excitement for the wedding, and it's made it hard to even think about. In previous relationships, my boundaries were violated to quite an extreme extent, and my partner knows this. The wedding I had before was a sham. It wasn't mine. It wasn't how I wanted. I had to compromise on a lot of things in spite of myself back then. It was awful, not only the wedding, but the whole marriage. Both me and my ex contributed to that fact. I've taken full accountability for my part in it, and I've gone through extensive psychotherapy to learn to love myself again and set healthy boundaries. Start setting those things.
I feel like the beast has been awoken.
Good. So you're hoping to see some boundaries.
I think some boundaries are about to be laid.
So OP is going to speak up for themselves and be assertive, among other things. I've been in that healthy space for over 3 years now. However, after hearing that question, I feel like I've taken 100 steps back, and the ache is so deep, it's giving me cold feet about the whole wedding. I feel small and insignificant, like an afterthought, a plaster for an ache of an unrequited love, like an effing second choice. I love my partner completely and I want them to be happy. That's why I think if they really want their ex to be there, it means a lot to them, then they should be able to do that. However, I love myself and want to put my peace and well-being first, so I'm totally stuck. On one hand, I think I have the right to feel how I feel. On the other hand, I don't want to seem totally unreasonable. I'm not and never have been the type to give anyone ultimatums. I would never say it's either me or them, but at this point, I don't think I can do it. Any advice would be greatly appreciated, and if I get none, at least it feels good to write it down and get it off my chest to process it before I ultimately have to talk to my partner about it. I don't want to lose them, but I also don't want to lose myself again in the name of love. I'm happy to never get married again if that's what it takes to keep myself and my boundaries intact. I'm done being a pushover. Am I the a-hole? There's an update. But John, what do you think? Is OP the a-hole?
I do not think so. And I think they set the boundaries. I mean, the fact that OP was so chill with and like accepting of the partner bringing this person into the relationship, talking to them all the time, walking away while they were talking, like there was a lot of like little steps like along the way where it would have been totally fair
to put up a boundary.
Yeah, put down the boundary, or should have been like the other person being like, maybe let me not say that like it was only my parents stopping me from being with my ex and I freaking love my ex-fiance and want to be with them. Like, so I think for OP to, especially with their past history that they shared, it's like, hey, you know, this is just a hard line in the sand for me. And I don't think I would be able to like do this relationship right if I'm in a relationship where I'm like, I don't know if I'm like going to be second fiddle or like I'm the replacement option, you know?
I think putting that boundary would be totally fine. What do you think about the wedding? Sounds like she's having second thoughts about the wedding as a whole.
I think maybe just going to your partner and be like, hey, for like the immediate future, let's put the wedding on pause, or like, I don't know, figure out what you want to do there.
Because I think if you're having doubts about the wedding, then you probably shouldn't be having the wedding.
Even though it obviously sucks to like tell everyone and like have to put it off. And maybe, you know what, maybe the wedding time comes around and then OP is like, okay, actually I do want to go through with it. But I think it's better to play on the safe side to, you know, just in case.
Also, there's ways to be like, hey, like we're still having the wedding, but we had some scheduling conflicts come up with some vendors and the venue, so we're just gonna postpone. We'll let you guys know when we have a new date. There's a way to like save face and do it. But we got an update. So update. I mustered up the courage to speak to my fiancé today. After all your heartfelt comments and all the great advice and encouragement, even in the form of harsh, cold truths. So therefore, I have to start by saying a massive thank you to everyone who contributed something to the post. It validated my feelings and helped me not feel so alone with my thoughts. I appreciate every single one of you. I couldn't sleep last night after reading a few of your comments. They were very hard-hitting and made me reconsider not only my behavior and thought patterns, but my values as well. Because although I had strong moral values, I was not upholding them at all by not speaking up for myself. Let's go. And that changed today. I woke up and knew I couldn't hold it any longer and had it flow out naturally, just like in my original post. I mentioned the disrespect, the lack of communication between me and the ex, despite my previous gentle efforts, the stupid, flirtatious, and jealous jokes from her. I laid it all out on the table. My voice was shaking, but I got everything I needed to get off my chest and then some. In the heat of the moment, I even concluded with, I love you so much that I want you to have the wedding of your dreams. I already had one that wasn't mine. I know how much that sucks, and I wouldn't want to wish it on you. That's why, if it means that much for you, for her to be at the wedding, then I'm willing to set you free and hope you'll have a very lovely celebration without me.
Ice cold bars. Wow.
Of course, I ended up shedding a few tears, but they were met with complete consolation, consideration, empathy. I was reassured, comforted, and I felt heard, which is what I desperately needed. As many of you correctly pointed out in the comments, I'm someone that always wants to be the most accommodating to the people I love, sometimes even to my own detriment, which I was able to recognize again through the situation. It's something I worked through in therapy before, thought I succeeded, but healing isn't linear and sometimes old patterns creep back when we feel the most vulnerable. I can fully admit this happened. My fiance asked why I never made it obvious that I don't like her. I mean, do you got to get hit over a brick that says I'm not into your ex-fiance? Like, how obvious do you need to be?
Yeah.
I feel like you need to set more boundaries with ex-partners when you're in a relationship than when you're single. And it sounds like nothing changed. Like, you could have those friendships, but it's like they kind of kept the relationship maybe without the spicy sleep that they had. It's like nothing changed about the dynamic OP's fiance and his ex-fiance had.
I feel like that's a great way to put it. It's like, it feels like you were still in a relationship minus the intimacy.
Minus the physical intimacy. The emotional intimacy is like still there. I guess I just don't know if I'm like completely buying his apology because I feel like he hasn't put any boundaries down. I don't know. At the very least, going to be a lot of trust that's going to need to be built back.
It's a lot easier to, in that moment, say like, I hear you, and just kind of like appease the person than it is to actually like lay down those boundaries in real life.
Let's see what he actually does. Let's see what the real life boundaries are.
Give me some action, buddy.
My fiance asked me why I never made it obvious that I don't like her, why I acted so cool about it. To tell you the truth, my partner's right. I didn't overly let it show that I don't like her other than blocking her everywhere. Partner claims they didn't realize I still had her blocked and thought I didn't because I didn't act like I hate her out of respect for my partner. But in that way, I disrespect myself and my own boundaries. I was honest in my reply. If she's your friend and you guys are cool and I love you and want you to be happy, then why would I hate on your friend to your face? My fiance looked at me completely puzzled and said, well, because you're the most important person to me and how you feel is my absolute priority. I didn't realize you were so uncomfortable with her. I'm so sorry I didn't see it. I was oblivious. Okay, I feel better.
Good words are being said.
I will do absolutely anything for you to feel like you're number one because you are. She will not attend our wedding. She won't be in the picture. I love you.
Yeah, she won't be in the picture. She'll be in the back room.
They also questioned me on why I didn't react straight away when the question about her attending was asked and why I didn't just burst out with, are you kidding me right now? And I explained that I wanted to think it through. I wanted so badly for her to be okay, but it just isn't. And I don't want her at the wedding. I can't have someone present that I feel holds animosity towards me in our relationship. I have too much respect for myself. And the reply I got made me very happy. I totally understand, and I agree with you. I am feeling better. Words are feeling better. I get it, and I'm sorry, but next time, please just don't bottle anything in. I want you to feel safe. About the phone calls, my partner didn't want to bore me with the ex's crap, trivial small talk, and her complaining about stuff. I want to believe it. It seemed very genuine, but I'm giving it time. Yeah, the walking away is a little whack. For those wondering about if the wedding plans are commencing, they aren't for now. Good idea. But may again in the future if it goes well. I decided words aren't enough, and I want to see all of this in action. Yes! I want to see clear boundaries put up with the ex. Yes! This is the only thing in our relationship that made me uncomfortable, her being so out of touch, lacking decorum, and disrespecting our union, and my partner being so oblivious to it. They even said her stupid jokes fell on deaf ears because it was obvious that she was just being jealous and bitter because she hasn't found anyone yet and can see we're very happy together and have a lot more in common than they ever did. My partner apparently found her jokes quite pathetic and said she always was a bit rude and tactless, just something they never liked about her. Sounds a lot different than we'd still be together if it wasn't for her crazy, overbearing mother. But alas, I'm giving it a chance. Yeah! Do we not remember what we said about her before? I would be together with her if it wasn't for the overbearing mother. This feels like a complete 180, a complete shift. It doesn't feel like it meshes with the information we had before. I'm not 100% that he's lying. It is a little suspicious.
Causes a lot of suspicion.
My eyebrows are raised. So I'm giving him a chance. Lesson to take away from this situation for me. Continue working on assertiveness and speaking up. This is a gradual process. Don't bottle things in. That doesn't mean burst into flames every time an uncomfortable feeling arises, but sit with it for a moment and let it be heard. Always speak your truth no matter the outcome. And if no change is made and the ex reappears with a vengeance, they can have each other. By the way, you can have us anytime you want. If you want to listen to full episodes of stories just like this, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio app, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. But John, what do you think? Are we feeling good about this? Are we feeling bad?
I'm loving what OP is doing. I love the boundaries that OP is setting. I think this is what putting it into practice looks like.
I do like we're not just accepting words, we're looking for actions. I think all of this is good grounds. Is the leash too long?
Yeah, I think maybe another thing that OP could say is it is hard for me to feel stable when you just previously said, oh, I would still be in a relationship with her, it just weren't for my mom. I think OP saying, hey, you said you still wanted to be with your old partner, or you would be if it weren't just for your mom, this one thing. Well, now you're over here kind of seemingly flipping all the way to the other side. Like that's kind of a jarring thing and it's kind of confusing. It's like, it makes the trust hard to be there. I'm almost like want to hear like at least acknowledging
The flip-flop.
the flip-flop.
Explain that away.
Give me something.
We got a little bit more to this story. So for now, we're going to take things easy while we work on patching up this wedge and rebuilding trust. If my partner puts their money where their mouth is, I'm confident we can make this work. And who knows, in a few years, once the ex is happily married too and everyone knows their place, maybe we can all laugh about this together at a summer barbecue, but maybe not. Once again, thank you all so much for your input and your encouragement, and let's see what the future brings. Much love to you all. And that is where that story ends.
I'll have to see it.
Actions, baby. I do like the development OP has had. Boundaries are being put up, truths are being told, and actions are being waited upon.
Yes, I think this is like a golden standard of the OKOP growth arc.
My fiance got a new assistant. I don't see it ending well.
Oh, what kind of assistant?
Hi, y'all. 26 female and 31 male. We've been engaged since Christmas, and our whole relationship has been a total fairy tale. He's my rock. Here's the tea.
Ooh.
He got this huge promotion last month that involves travel and a new assistant, which is great. But his new assistant, Rachel, 24 female, is a little much. I met her once at a company happy hour last month. She was super sweet, but she also told me I was so lucky and that she hoped to find a guy just like him someday, whatever TF that means. By the way, this comes from Puzzle-Headed Tip 0002
Nice.
on the r/2hottakes subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So she texts him at all hours, sending him memes and really pushing the whole mentorship thing. He says she's just young and he's trying to be a good mentor, which makes sense because he's genuinely one of the kindest people I've met. Last week, he had this business trip to Chicago and Rachel went with him because that's literally her job, right? I love how she's writing this. But when I was helping him unpack, I found this receipt from a really fancy restaurant, way fancier than what his company usually approves for expenses. I didn't get to look at the bill before he said, I need that, and just handed it over to him. When I asked about it, he got kind of weird and said they had to take a client there, but then he changed the subject super fast. I didn't press him. Then I was looking through our shared cloud for a picture and saw that he screenshotted Rachel's Insta story from that same night at that same restaurant. It was a pic of just the two of them looking all cozy in a booth with a caption that said, "Best boss ever."
Ooh.
He said the client took the picture right before they had to leave and that the dinner was a celebration for landing the account. I wasn't too concerned until this morning when his phone was buzzing on the nightstand while he was in the shower. I saw a preview that said, "Last night was exactly what I needed," with an emoji.
Ooh, this is looking
Okay.
very suspicious.
And then we find out it's a white heart. White heart's not a romantic heart, but I was still shocked.
I mean, it is a heart.
It's still a
So-
heart.
It's not a romantic heart. It's funny.
I showed him the phone after he got out and he just laughed, accusing me of snooping jokingly, and showed me his texts. It was just them talking about a presentation and her career. But that one message felt so out of place. Am I clueless? P.S. He just told me as I'm writing this, he's going to have to start flying to LA once a month for the new development in LA and help Rachel get settled in the new office. He got her promoted too. He said it's a great excuse for us to have a little weekend getaways. I don't know what to think or how to feel, but I'm glad to have her out of my hair, I guess. And there is an update. My fiance's new assistant isn't as sneaky as she thought.
Maybe she's a sneaky friend. Hey, I sneakily helped you on that last report. Surprise.
Wink, wink. Oh boy, we're in for a ride. Hey all, thank you for the perspective and care on my last post. I can tell this community really wants to save me from pain and many of you had really articulate perspectives. The situation is a little complex still. There were 2 other accidents I didn't mention in my original post on my profile. Links aren't allowed here. So the accidents, apparently Rachel called him as he was driving home from work this week, crying about a family emergency. He tried to talk her through it, but ended up meeting her at a cafe before he came back for dinner. I was concerned, and as soon as he walks in, I saw lipstick on his collar.
Ooh.
I was hesitant, but like, that's dang evidence. He said, she hugged me, I didn't realize. Sir, you cannot be playing with my emotions like that. He was very transparent about their chat, and I had to believe him, so I shrugged it off, telling him he wouldn't be seeing her after work hours. Just fair. Spotify on desktop shows you what your friends are listening to. At work, he was listening to a playlist named Iterative Flow Q2. Sure. It was collaborative and had only one other editor. It was mostly like 2014 chill step, except one song, I Feel Like I'm Drowning, which if you've ever heard that song, go play it, LOL. We were
Shout out to 2014 chill step, bro.
We were driving. He hands me his phone. Add anything you want to the Q2 list. You have good taste. Needs more chaos. Feels like he's playing the field. Okay. After reflecting on this in the bath, I had to bring all this up. I didn't mention the Reddit post. He was calm when I confronted him about emotionally cheating. I brought up the receipts and the screenshot, and he admitted it was a little over the line. He said, "You're right to be concerned. I should have been clearer about boundaries from the start." He wasn't deflecting, and he was apologetic that these things made me feel this way. He assured me he didn't feel anything towards her, and I shouldn't feel threatened just because she knows how to get her way. He suggested we all grab drinks together at trivia night so I could see their dynamic. I went to bed feeling like I'd been a little unfair, but glad I brought it up. So last night, after reading all the comments, I met him at the bar. I was a bit weary but optimistic. He's at a high top with her and 2 other girl coworkers. They're laughing. He sees me and introduces me to everyone as my R&D funnel for creative problem solving.
Oh,
it's my
what?
R&D funnel for creative problem solving.
Bro is naming his playlists like iterative fixes Q2. Hey, this is my business associate over here, my chief fun officer right here.
Creative problem solver. Oh.
God.
See, now I would be mad if nameless producer introduced me like that.
Hey, this is my illustrious co-host over here.
Done and done.
Great. He orders drinks for us and gets her a seltzer before she asks. During trivia, they both slapped the bar at the exact same second when they knew the answer, like they've rehearsed it. I wanted to drink every time she finished his sentences. Driving home, he says, "She just mirrors people really well. She reminds me of someone I knew." And didn't tell me who that might be.
What?
Why would
This
you
man
not?
speaks in corporate riddles.
This man is just, this is like finance bro 101.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that praise or a confession? I press him, saying I feel like he's giving her way more attention than is reasonable, and he needs to stop for everyone's sake. Her crush on him shouldn't get in the way of our relationship and his career. I ask him, isn't this emotional cheating? And he hesitated before saying, it's not like that. Okay. And then she says, y'all. He proceeded to open a note on his phone and passed it to me. He had documented every interaction with Rachel for the past month with times, contexts, and images. It had her little emergencies. It had the screenshot of them together at the restaurant in it, and call logs and other Zoom call transcripts I didn't know about. It was overwhelming and I barely skimmed it. He said she's brilliant and manipulative and that he needed a case before going to HR.
Wait.
What?
So now it sounds like you would agree with her because you're bringing a whole case to HR. Like that to me is like him admitting it's inappropriate.
Right.
But then he's like, nah, it's not like that though.
Also,
So like,
From what they've said that they're doing, do you see any major the lipstick is one for me, but
Yeah.
besides that, are you noticing anything that you're like, that's no?
I mean, like kind of all of it, but like I will say, it's like a lot of the different, like for instance, them having the dinner together, right? That could be fine, you know,
Right.
and maybe also like they said the client. What was it? Was it like other people were there, or they went off after celebrating? It was like, oh, like let's grab a bite, or
That was the meeting that landed them the big deal. So that was the
Okay.
client. The client took their picture.
the client took yes, you're right. The client took the picture, right? So I think, and you know, I was even thinking about the notes. At first, I was like, the fact that he documented all this stuff is
Right.
crazy. But then she mentioned, oh, it was like the Zoom meeting notes and all this. And I was like, oh, is this just a list of like notes from their meetings? Because that
Right.
like, I mean, we take a lot of notes in our meetings here and have like a billion notes. But then it was like also personal stuff, like the screenshot from her IG story. So like it almost feels like he knows that all these things are suspicious, and he like attaches a like reasonable thing to it.
Right.
Right? That's like,
Because it's kind of like he is her mentor.
yes.
So it's like he has to be doing some of it,
yeah.
but she's almost taking it to that like further level.
And I also think the thing too is like OP is pretty clearly expressing her discomfort, and I feel like my response would be like, okay, I'm like, one, like what would make you feel more comfortable in this
Yeah.
relationship, and then also try to be like proactive in how I'm interacting with that person, to like, let me like make sure it's clear to this person that this isn't like emotional cheating or whatever, that, or like that there's nothing like going on
Yeah.
between us, like that our interactions wouldn't like hurt my partner.
Right.
You know, it doesn't seem like he's doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where I'm.
But tell me more.
We'll see.
Let's see.
Boyfriend says, I was handling it and didn't want to worry you with something I could manage. He said he's going to schedule a meeting with their boss to talk about what to do next. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. But there is another update.
We have more.
We have more.
This is tragically short because I wanted way more context.
I wanted the Google Doc with all the info.
Yeah.
I asked him if the dinner in Chicago really was with a client, and he said yes and no. We were celebrating landing an account with a client, but I also needed to ask her something I can't tell you right now. You just have to trust me. I honestly had such a big sigh of relief that I didn't have to be as tense about the whole thing, but I'm having trouble communicating the fact that they seem to need each other for whatever reason, but I can't let it go on like how he's been doing. You can't just say because you need to trust me on it.
Yeah, I like that's the whole point, is that you are doing things that are making me questioning the trust.
Right. But I'm worried that if the boss will see it like he does because he went along with it. Is there a good reason for why he didn't include me in this? He never outright lied to me, but he definitely curated what I saw. He probably could have shut her down more, but I was looking for reasons to not break off the engagement. He's the type to be in control, but sometimes I wonder if he likes the game a little too much. I think I'm going to just buy him that book, Not Just Friends by Shirley Glass. Rough. We have some comments.
Ooh, let's see it.
Comment 1. As a former HR director, in your fiancé's notes document, how many times did he note that he explicitly asked or told her to see certain behaviors? As an example, when she called him for emotional support, he should have told her something like, while I appreciate that you value my opinion/advice, calling to discuss a personal issue is not appropriate. This is something that cannot happen again. For someone who's in management, he should know that he needs to have verbalized that Rachel needed to focus on work only and that her comments or behavior were inappropriate. And his whole comment about asking her a question when you can't know about, come on. While it's good you trust him and it's good he's keeping record of Rachel's machinations. It doesn't seem as if he has the handle on it he thinks he does or has told you he does. Good luck and update me. And someone replied, I second this. He's either playing himself or he's playing you. He doesn't have a handle on this. Personally, I think he put it together to keep you quiet. Manipulation comes in many forms. There's another reply. For me, it ends as soon as your partner does not introduce you as his partner.
Yeah.
Whatever the game he's playing, that is the line.
I forgot.
That's it.
Yeah. I think like, yeah, why not like, oh, this is my fiance.
Right.
Not
my creative, what was it? Creative.
My chief fun officer.
My chief creative officer.
It's like when it was like my R&D funnel person. Yeah, it's giving very like finance bro or just like super like tech bro, just like super. Oh, he just doesn't. Either he doesn't get it, but actually, I think he does get it.
I think he gets it.
I think he knows what he's doing, and that's so bad. Oh, but anyways, I think that's the end of that one.